Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 98. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and as always, I'm joined by Dory. How you doing, Dory?
Severino, we're going to talk about one of the flyest and one of the gnarliest games to come out this month. One is a narrative game that made me want to gag myself with a spoon, and the other is a tight, funky, fresh narrative joint that was totally rad. Yo, can you dig it, Home Skillet? Yes, that's right. We are going to talk. I hope, Seb, that was very painful for you. I looked up a bunch of 90s slang so I can make that as accurate as possible. Um, this week we're going to talk about Directive 8020 and Mixtape. I of course named that note Directive Mixtape 8020 because I'm very original. But yeah, we're going to talk about Directive 8020, a game Seb and I were very excited for, but unfortunately did not resonate with either of us. And Mixtape, another game Seb and I were very excited about, which did resonate with us. So we got a little bit of both. But we also have some exciting news to talk about. Well, exciting for some people. Star Fox Direct happened, so we were going to talk about that. That happened last week, but we were a little busy. And then Stranger Than Heaven also got a special look from Xbox, so we're going to talk about that, which I'm pretty excited for. Yeah, so that'll cover today's episode.
So let's start with the Star Fox Direct, which happened last week, and starting with, so this is not even, this has nothing to do with the Direct, but I wanted to just mention it. Apparently, this was like one of the most watched Nintendo Directs ever for an individual game. I think it was like second, only under Mario Kart World. And if Star Fox is definitely a big name, but it's not a huge franchise. It's not like Zelda or Mario or like anything like that. And it's been on a hiatus for quite a while. It's practically, you want to say, dead as a franchise. So it's exciting that people are very interested in it. There's been mixed reaction to the visuals and things like that, but overall, it seems like it is just still a general positivity, and people are excited about this game. And it's probably gonna be a seller, but we'll get into all that. Let's start with the actual game itself, which they revealed to be Star Fox 64 Remake. It's a remake of the Nintendo 64 game, which I personally have beaten many times and played it when I was a kid. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was never super into Star Fox as a kid. I mean, I think I played 64, but I never played any of the follow-ups or anything like that. Um, I definitely share the mixed reception to the overly realistic kind of art style that's going on here. Kind of gives me, somebody else said it, but like Angry Birds vibes. Like, I don't know. It looks off. It looks like kind of a weird mirrored like Uncanny Valley kind of situation with like they look like real animals but not real animals. I just don't know that I like it. I wish they had gone for a more cartoony look, in keeping with the franchise. I never feel like Star Fox, even going as recent as the GameCube or the Wii U, was ever really about realism. So I'm kind of questioning their strategy here in terms of going for a more realistic look.
Yeah, I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. I lean more positive than I do negative. It doesn't bother me. I'm not like, oh my god, this is horrendous.
Yeah.
My reaction is more like interesting, and I think I generally like it. I think the game looks really good visually. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't look like, it's not on the level of like Wukong or something, but it's,
Right.
you can definitely see the big jump to the Switch 2 and the visuals, and like,
Yeah.
I think the character models definitely show that, even though it's debatable if they look good or not. I mean, if that's the right
Yeah.
art style for Star Fox,
Yeah,
because
so I
yeah,
that's the part. It's mostly the character models that I'm specifically
yeah,
commenting on
right,
because the rest of the game looks good.
right,
But the character models, I don't know. There's just something off and weird about them. I'm not saying, similar to Seb, I'm not saying it's terrible. Just that I was watching and I was like, I don't know. This isn't what I would do for Star Fox. But I mean, I'm hardly an
yeah.
expert on Star Fox. Like I said, I was too busy as a kid playing Smash Brothers with my friends to care about Star
Yeah,
Fox. So
it's the hyper realistic look to them that people have a
yeah,
problem with, and even like Nintendo games, right? You think of Nintendo games, you think of like Mario. They've never done like a hyper realistic Mario, right? You don't have Mario in
yeah.
an Unreal Engine 5, like that would look crazy. And I think that's the problem people are having. It's kind of like a Uncanny Valley vibe. to these characters. I've seen people compare them to like their original like Fox like puppets that they use in the 80s to advertise Star Fox. I've seen them compared to like Mr. Fantastic Fox or something like that. It's definitely it definitely caught me off guard. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But I think Star Fox is the one that really looks odd to me. I think the other characters look pretty good. I mean, Falco's also the one I'm a little iffy on too, but I thought like Slippy looked good and things like that. So I don't know. When I play the game, maybe I'll be a lot more positive. Maybe I'll be a lot more negative. I just have a mixed feelings. I'm not. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I think it just looks like
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of an odd choice, only because we just got Star Fox in a Mario movie, and people really dug him in that movie, and like they really like that animation style. So it's quite jarring. Like only a couple months later to reveal this game, and it's like we're going for a really hyper realistic animals in this game.
Yeah, there's no corporate synergy there, right? Like MCU,
Yeah.
they would always like try to reflect one thing back to another, but this just feels completely disconnected. Like I've seen some of the shots of Star Fox and how he looks in the Mario movie, and he looks pretty good. I mean, I didn't watch the movie, I have no interest, but when I saw the clip of where he's in there very recently, I was like, yeah, that looks like Star Fox.
Yeah.
Looks all right. Here, I don't know. I get uncanny valley. I do want to highlight the one good thing that came out of this direct is the YouTube comment section, which is just incredibly funny. There's some comments that are just like born too late to play Star Fox 64, born too early to play Star Fox 64, but born just in time to play Star Fox 64. Like a lot of comments like that about just that this is at this point, as someone else said, basically Nintendo Skyrim. Like I didn't even know this, but apparently they've remade Star Fox 64 before.
Yes.
And I think they also did Star Fox Zero, and of course the original Star Fox 64. And yeah, it's kind of nuts. I think this is the fourth Star Fox 64 game, and of course F-Zero fans are very upset because Nintendo keeps saying that they can't make a new F-Zero, and I have no dog in this fight. But like they keep saying they can't make a new F-Zero game or whatever because they're out of ideas. But they keep fucking remaking Star Fox Zero, or Star Fox 64, I should say. So it's a bit weird. But go check out the comments section in the Nintendo Direct. It's very funny. There's just a lot of good, like the Star Fox franchise is 80% one game, and everyone's ready for Star Fox 65 at this point. But anyway, you get the point. Not so much to trash on Nintendo, just that I genuinely think some of these are smart, funny comments. It does seem a little weird, but again, I was never getting this game. Probably, I'm not big into like air combat. I never played the Ace Fighter series. I never really got into Star Fox. I don't usually play. I tried Rogue Squadron or whatever that game was that you play in first person like years ago, and it gave me motion sickness, which video games never do that. So I just like this genre just generally isn't for me, and it's on the Switch too, which I don't have and have no plans to get. So it's just like a double whammy. But yeah, it's not to pile on. I'm happy for the Star Fox fans who are happy, but like you said, a bit of a mixed reception. I have to grab water, but keep talking.
Yeah, I had mixed feelings about there being a remake of 64 because it's been done several times now, and
never mind, it's right in front of me.
But I suppose it makes sense because Star Fox 64 is the most popular one, and if you want to revive the franchise, that's the game to remake. Remakes all the rage right now because there's actually been really quality remakes, and to really like revive a franchise, doing a great remake can really make a difference. And so I get the mindset. It is a bit jarring a little bit, but like you said, you didn't even know they remade it several times. So I imagine the casual audience doesn't even know that.
Yeah.
So that's more of a hardcore space complaining about that.
Yeah, it's probably more of a hardcore thing.
But let's get into the actual gameplay that they showed and all the features of the game. They talked about the ship, R-Wing. It has lasers. It has charge shots. It launches bombs that cover a wide area. You can brake and boost, and you can do a barrel roll and you can somersault. You can do that in the original game too, but it obviously looks a lot better. You also control different vehicles. Like there's a Landmaster, which was like a tank, and then there's the Blue Marine, which was a submarine. And then they showed the campaign, It says you are able to explore, or not explore, but like battle on multiple planets. There was a variety of different landscapes. Like for example, there's an ice planet, and there was a lot of big boss battles. Like obviously, Star Fox is known for the big boss battles, and you can replay multiple stages and take different paths. This game is meant to be very replayable. So you go left or you go right. They showed like you going right, you go in a waterfall, and that was like a secret path that you go on. There's an easy and a normal and a hard difficulty, and there's a challenge mode that provides objectives to do in stages. And there's a normal and expert difficulty for the challenge mode. The challenge mode just basically has a checklist of what things to do in the level, and you can do it on a normal expert difficulty. And it just gives you something more to do. I imagine this game is not going to be that long, so get your money's worth. You're meant to replay the levels multiple times and do all the challenges. And
it definitely felt like while they were talking about difficulty levels and they were talking about replayability and challenge levels and high scores and all, and like playing with your friends, there was like a big gun to the back of whoever's head, was like, make sure we can justify the $70 price point or $60 or whatever it ends up being, right? Because
yeah,
it, like you said, it's going to be a short game. The campaign, I can't remember exactly how long it is on Star Fox 64, but I've seen it before. It's not super long. It's definitely less than 10 hours, maybe less than 5. I can't remember. But yeah, it's not very long. So the whole time they're talking about challenge levels and
less than that.
yeah, and
1 to 2
difficulty and stuff
hours.
like that.
One to two
Only 2
hours.
hours?
1 to 2 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah.
1 to 2 hours. My gosh. Okay, I did not think it was that short.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely got the feeling that that Nintendo is like, okay, we understand this is a short campaign, but we're making it really high quality, and also we're giving you a lot of reasons to replay, which might work. I don't know, but for me personally, I would never buy a game that's going to be like $60-$70, which this game probably is.
It's to be clear, it's $50 digitally and $60 physically.
Okay. So that's on the better side of it. I didn't even know they dropped a price for it. Is that at the end of the video?
It's on the Nintendo eShop.
Oh, okay. I don't think it was on the Direct itself, so I never
No,
knew.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. So that explains.
Yeah, they never put the price on there for
Oh,
obvious
okay. That's
reasons.
weird. You would think they would do that, but anyway,
Yeah,
yeah. So I think that's a decent price. I mean, $50 isn't bad, and if they do give a good amount of replayability for it, I
yeah,
actually think that's not a terrible price, especially
yeah.
for Nintendo.
Yeah, this
So
kind of game
I
has
wouldn't
to
be
be.
surprised.
Yeah, this kind of game has to have replayability because this game can't be like 15, 20 hours long. You would get tired of this kind of gameplay for 15 hours. Like it has to be short. So when you do a short game, you have to make it replayable. Uh, Nintendo is notorious for that. Like their games tend to be on the shorter side, but they have a lot of replayability. They're meant for you to like go through the levels, look for collectibles, that. But you don't have to do that. But if you want to get your money's worth, yeah. So you probably should. All right, there's also a battle mode, and you can compete against another team and complete missions and take down foes together. So they show like two different teams, and that was cool. It has mouse targeting. It also has co-op, and you can split between gunner and pilot. I don't know. So the pilot drives the ship, and the gunner obviously shoots. And they revealed it's coming out relatively soon. It comes out June 25th of next month, and that surprised me overall. Like I was like, whoa! Not only is it coming out, but it's coming out June 25th. So it feels like it's a game that wasn't that hard to make. I would assume. Like
Yeah.
it probably didn't require a huge production line to make it. And then one odd thing to me was the character avatars where you could control the character models using your face, and they put a strong emphasis on that. That didn't really do anything for me because I don't use game chat.
That was so weird. That was one part. So this whole presentation, for every cool thing they did, there was like two things that like made me go, "What? Why?" This was definitely one of the big ones where I was like, "Why are we pouring our resources into this? Like, pour more resources into the multiplayer aspect or the campaign or the challenge level or something. Like, why? I don't want to look like, even if I liked playing multiplayer,
Yeah,
even if I bought this game and enjoyed this genre, Why would I replace my face with Scott McCloud or Falco or any of them? It's just so weird.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I said, it probably wasn't that hard of a game to make, and they had some time to screw around with little things. I guess because Nintendo's executives are probably like, we had people buy the camera and people use game chat. We need to start pushing things for people to use it. Give people a reason to use the game chat. Not me personally. I only use Nintendo for single player, and I only use Nintendo for like local co-op, and that's it. I don't do anything else. Local like Smash Brothers or Mario Kart or something.
Right.
And then finally, it also supports the Nintendo 64 controller. So if you have that, because they released it and you can buy it. And it works with the Switch and Switch 2. You can use that controller for this one too, for the genuine experience of what it was like to be a '90s kid like us.
Right.
Not my favorite controller ever. I it's been so long since I've used that controller that I'm not sure I would even know how to hold it anymore.
Yeah,
To be
I
honest with you.
agree.
But I don't know. Maybe it would just come naturally. I haven't held that controller in so long. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, so that's Star Fox, the direct. It's just called Star Fox. I'm excited for it. This is day one for me. Outside the character models being a mixed bag, all the gameplay and the features and the modes and all that were all cool, and I'm very excited for it. And $50 is a good
Yeah.
price. I mean, obviously, ideally this probably could be a $30 or $40 game, not 50, but it could be worse, I suppose. And
Yeah, it's Nintendo. We're
Switch
just lucky
tax.
it's Switch tax. We're lucky it's even 50. Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to rain on anyone's parade. Like I said, I've never been a Star Fox fan. I'm not into dogfighting games in
Yeah.
general. The character of
Fox
Star
McCloud.
Fox, Fox McCloud. I almost said Scott McCloud. Fox McCloud. Yeah, that's his real name, Scott McCloud. What kind of fox would be named Fox? Obviously, his real name is Scott. Anyway, Fox McCloud just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
In fact, I've probably been more annoyed by Fox over the years because I played Smash so much. Because he's always got that fucking pistol and fucking spammers are always shooting you with it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. This just doesn't do anything for me. It's also on the Switch 2, which means I'm not there, even
Yeah.
if I wanted to be there. There's so many levels to like why I have no interest in this game. But again,
Yeah.
if you're a Fox fan and you are happy about that, look, I'm happy for you. That is always my
Yeah.
stance on these kind of things. It's not for me, but that's okay. Not everything has to be. I'm glad that Star Fox fans are finally maybe getting fed, and if this is successful, maybe it will finally lead to other Star Fox games that can
Yeah.
improve the formula, which is like 30 years old at this point, and enhance it and
Yeah.
bring Star Fox back.
Yeah, I've never been a huge Star Fox fan. It's always been like in that second or third tier of Nintendo games for Nintendo franchises for me. Like it's not on that level of like Mario or Zelda or Pokemon, which are almost always going to be day one for me. Star Fox is like maybe third tier because it's been so long. It's been mostly a dormant franchise for so long. Yeah, and as you said earlier, the majority of the franchise is just one game that they've remade several times.
Yep.
Outside that, like one game where there was a 3D platformer, Star Fox on the GameCube with the
Yep.
dinosaurs.
The one with Crystal and the dinosaurs. Yep.
Was it Star Fox Adventures? I think it was called.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Super Nintendo one. I remember that one as well. I used to play that one a lot.
Yeah.
When I was a kid. All right, let's move on to Stranger Than Heaven. We got a special look. The game that's coming out this winter. Now, I don't know what that means. Does that mean like this winter, like this year, or does that mean like January, February? If you go by previous releases from them, that probably means January or February. I mean, that was my first thought. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to, have you be wrong here and have it be November, December. But I think you're probably right because almost no games come out in November, let alone December.
Well,
October is really the last super busy month. And some games come out in November, but I would say that's a minority of them.
the big one,
Because by then you're not really considered for the goatees. Well, early December, I should say.
yeah. The thing with November is usually like the Call of Duty month where like you don't want to put your game next to that kind of thing.
Right.
Or console release comes out, so you always get like the console exclusives or something that launched with the
Sure.
console or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, once you get to early December though, that's when it's like it's very unlikely this game comes out in December. I just don't see
Yeah.
that.
So
It's
it's
either
either November this year or like Seb said, it's
yeah.
probably January, February. I think their last game came out in January or February as well. But I could be wrong about that.
I feel like the
But
last
yeah,
couple of them have done that,
yeah,
or
I
February.
believe Infinite Wealth came out in January.
Yeah,
I remember because it started. I remember because I started my year with my game of the year. It was pretty wild. I think that same year, my favorite wrestling match also happened in January. So I had already peaked by January. Like I had already
yeah,
experienced like the best wrestling match and the best video game of 2025 for me.
yeah,
So it was kind of a wild January.
yeah. January could be a sneaky month. With game releases, like I remember with that
Yeah,
one.
Kingdom Hearts 3 also came out January. That was probably my goatee for that month or that year, or at least very close.
Yeah, I remember when Resident Evil 2 remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 came out the same week,
God.
January, and that
Yep.
was a pretty hype week for me. As a
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so Stranger Than Heaven focuses on Makoto Daido. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
I apologize if I butcher any of these names. I don't speak Japanese names that often. I'm so used to reading things in my head, but I don't ever like outwardly pronounce them when I'm talking. Anyway, so Makoto Daido he basically has a mix. Not basically, he does a mixed Japanese and American heritage, and I think he was born in the United States, and then he moves to Japan.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. His parents, of course, get Disneyed or they die
Yeah,
in various tragic ways, and
yeah,
he decides to reclaim his heritage by going back to Japan.
yeah. So he meets Yu Shinjo, and he's a boy who is a little older than him, and he's also of mixed heritage. And their goal is to start a new life in Japan. And Yu will ultimately become Makoto's good friend and his rival throughout the events of Stranger Than Heaven, as the two young men's lives are going to become intertwined. Like that's the two main they're the two main characters. The story is going to span 50 years. It's going to follow his life from 1915 to 1965 across different parts of Japan. Makoto starts as a struggling outsider trying to survive, but eventually he gets pulled into crime, into music, into show business with his friend. As I said, the game's going to focus on various time periods across 5 Japanese cities and different eras. And I'm gonna I would read these names of these cities, but I'm just gonna butcher the pronunciation of them. But it's
See, well, I know a couple of them, like Hiroshima, Osaka, Tokyo,
yeah.
uh, Shizuko, yeah. A couple of them I don't know, so I don't know how to
I mean,
pronounce
there's some
them.
big ones on there too. But the point is,
Yeah.
there's 5 different cities and eras you can go to, and each era has different visuals. It has different cultures. It has different gangs, and it has different activities. One thing they focused on in the showcase was the music system. Makoto can record sounds from the environment, and he can use those sounds to create music and organize performances. There's a management elements where you can recruit performers and set up shows. I feel like every Yakuza game has this. Not like the music, but like they always have some mini game where you build a business up or something like that. And
Yeah. This feels like they're integrating it into the main like
yeah.
gameplay instead of it being a side thing.
So what'd you think of that?
Yeah, very surprising as we noted, as you noted. I wasn't sure what to make of it. I guess I'll have to really see it in practice. It reminded me of other games that have like you take uh sounds and music from like the Miles Morales side missions where you take beats and sounds from the environment and then mix it together. I think that was something you did in Miles Morales' game.
Yeah.
I was like, I know there's a game where you do something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, very, very different. But similar kind of gameplay mechanics. So I'm very curious how that'll play out. Management sims not my favorite thing, but if anybody can make it work, it's RGG Studios. I mean, I loved when they announced that they had like an Animal Crossing like in the Infinite Wealth game. or no, not Infinite Wealth. Pirate Yakuza had that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know about that, but I got hooked. I played that side activity for a good like 2 hours,
Mm,
which isn't a lot compared to other people. But the
yeah.
fact that I did it for 2 hours is astounding because that is not my genre. It is
Sure.
not something I generally enjoy. So my point is, if anybody can make the music collection gimmick and management gimmick kind of good, I say gimmick neutrally, but can make that kind of gameplay style good, it's definitely RGG. So I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I feel like this is something I'm probably not going to get into that deeply. There's side content in the Yakuza games are always hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
I usually don't like the the management builder uh business thing that they do like in the games. I usually just don't care
Right.
for them. Like I don't
I
like
didn't
recruit.
get into it in Yakuza 0. I remember that was one thing that you
Yeah,
could do is you could like start a side hustle or something. I was like, I don't care about this.
yeah,
The characters in the story are so engrossing and the combat's so good. I'm like, why would I do this? But yeah.
yeah. I don't like like recruiting women or something and starting a bit. Like I don't get into all that. I
Yeah.
just like the main story really. I'll get
Yeah.
into a little bit of the side content, but I always get sick of it after a while. And then, this is probably not gonna be for me personally. But what interests me more is the combat, because the combat looks revamped, and they're doing a whole new type of fighting.
Yeah.
Even though it feels the same too, but it's also they have added new features to it, including being able to control Makoto's left and right sides independently, so you can block with one arm and attack with the other arm. So that's a cool concept.
Yeah.
And you can use multiple weapons like knives and katanas and hammers and more. And there are cinematic finishing moves and environmental attacks. I thought the combat looked really fun. It looked. I mean, I always enjoy the combat of Yakuza games. They're they're not like amazing, incredible gameplay, but they're always fun enough. And but this one looks like it's like it might be the best one yet. So what was your reaction to the combat?
Yeah, my first reaction was kind of like, huh? Like, I don't know. I wasn't another surprise. Like, I wasn't really expecting them to have it felt kind of Death Stranding ish, like with each key or each button like assigned to a specific thing, like the way you got to balance those boxes on your back in the control scheme. It just reminded me of Death Stranding. I could be off because I never actually played those games, but just when they were explaining it to it, it reminded me of it. Yeah, I don't really know what to think here. Again, another thing that I kind of have to see in practice. It sounds like it could get confusing for me personally, just because sometimes in the moment under pressure, I can struggle with my right and my left. So I worry that this is going to be a bit of a hot mess for me personally. I'm not sure how it's going to work. It sounds intuitive, and the combat that the way that they did it in the trailer, of course, made it look fluid and really fun. So I'm hopeful it'll be good because all the combat has looked
Yeah.
fantastic in all of the trailers. But now that they've explained the mechanics behind it, I'm worried how practical it will be for me personally. But maybe it'll be super intuitive. I had similar concerns about Pragmata, and Capcom absolutely delivered. So I could be totally wrong. It's not a big gamble for me either way because as far as I know, this is day one on Game Pass. So not a big deal.
Yeah, that's a good point. This game needs a demo, and then just
Yes.
let us just fight a bunch of people and see how it feels. So we'll see. But so far, what I'm seeing, it looks really fun. But obviously, that was just spliced up and edited and made it look really awesome. I need to see actual gameplay, like 20 minutes of just full on combat. But really, even when you watch it though, I need to feel like what it feels like to play. So it definitely needs a demo. All right, another thing that was cool about this game was the various celebrities in this game. Um, the big one being Snoop Dogg, which he plays a smuggler named Orpheus, and he becomes very important to Makoto's story.
Look,
And
this is so weird. I don't understand why Snoop Dogg is in the game. He also, I love rolling down the street, sipping up, whatever the fuck, however the fuck that goes. With my mind on my money, and my money on
getting
my mind,
juice,
right?
yeah,
Great song, but
Jim.
like, yes, thank you. But just like it just felt so weird. It felt like weird celebrity placement that just felt unnecessary to me. I mean, I guess it's cool that Snoop's in the game, but he's also made like weird comments lately online that are kind of homophobic, and I'm like, I don't really understand now of all times to be introducing Snoop Dogg, but I mean, there was that whole Yakuza 3 Kiwami voice actor complaint, so I don't know. I don't think RGG really cares, unfortunately. But yeah, I just thought this was weird. And they have a son too. His son's like one of the other main characters. So I was like, how much does Snoop Dogg pay y'all to be involved in this? Does he like? I mean, maybe he genuinely loves the games, or maybe his son does. I don't know. I'm not like, oh, they're fake gamers or some bullshit.
Yeah.
But it just felt weird and out of nowhere to me, and it felt unnecessary. Like at least when Yakuza used to incorporate characters or celebrities or whatever, they felt like when they did that with like New Japan Pro Wrestling and stuff and Kenny Omega. Like obviously I'm biased because I love Kenny Omega and I love pro wrestling, but like it made sense, right? Because Yakuza already has so much wrestling-esque combat, and there was already wrestling references and stuff like that in the game, so it made sense.
Yeah.
But this just feels weird. I don't know. It's Yakuza's never struck me necessarily super intertwined with hip hop. Not that it can't be, or that they can't pivot. And obviously, this isn't a Yakuza game. And you do have some cool dance moves that you can do as Majima, or it could be Kiryu, but with the kind of breakdancing esque fight style.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm off base, and I've only played a few Yakuza games, so what do I know? But anyway, again, this isn't Yakuza, and they can do whatever they want. It just felt weird to me to include Snoop Dogg. It just felt like bandwagon approach kind of marketing. I was just kind of like this, or a celebrity endorsement. I was like, I don't care that he's in the game. I'd rather him not be in the game.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I mean, I normally don't play these games in English. I always like to use the Japanese dub.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Although this might be the one I would consider English because it fits the character. Obviously, coming from America, he wouldn't speak Japanese outright, I would suppose, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that fits more. It'd be cool if they did a mix of Japanese and English to make it more authentic, but we'll see. It'd be a little jarring if I play it in Japanese and then he's straight off the boat from America and he's speaking full Japanese fluently.
It's so funny because that's the same a similar issue with Infinite Wealth, right? Because you come to Hawaii and everybody speaks fluent Japanese, and you gotta. That was one of the discrepancies in the game where I was just like, I just have to let this go. I don't know why the 6-year-old white boy with blonde hair and blue eyes is speaking fluent Japanese, but you know what? I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go.
Everybody just woke up one day and just knew how to speak fluent Japanese.
At least in Hawaii, it kind of made sense because there is a very big Japanese population there. But even then, it's really stretching because everybody knows Japanese.
Yeah,
fluent Japanese.
Yeah,
it's like that's not how it is.
There's a good amount of Japanese influence in Hawaii, but not that much. It's definitely not everybody. So yeah, it doesn't bother me personally. I think it's pretty cool, but it's not like I wasn't like, oh my god, Snoop Dogg! Can't wait to buy this. I'm already sold in this game anyway. But overall, the presentation was awesome. The music, the art style, the animation, the storytelling. It's gonna be an amazing game. I fully trust the studio at this point, and I'm gonna buy every single game they make day one, unless it gets like bad reviews or something. But this game looks like it's going to be one of their best.
It looks very good. It looks very polished. The graphics look very good. The combat looks good. The voice. I'm probably going to do subs just because I prefer to hear like kind of the original vision.
Yeah.
But and just because I generally think that the dub or the sub is better than the dub, just because usually that's how the lip syncing is made for. That's how it's written for. That's the original vision. Well, but I'm not like one of those subs better than dubs like person. Like I always watch Yu Yu Hakusho in dub, or I always watch Dragon Ball Z in dub. Like they're, I'm not a purist or that one of those kind of people about subs. But just generally, that's my preference, just because I like to go by the original vision.
Yeah, I get that. I prefer dub generally because I like to like play a video game. I like to watch anime while I'm playing a video game. I can't
without looking at the subtitles and stuff.
Yeah, I can multitask better. Way better. I like Dragon Ball and stuff like that. I can. I usually watch the Japanese version first because obviously it's the first episode. Like that comes first, and then they dub it. And I'm not patient enough to wait like 6 months later. Although nowadays dubbing is pretty fast, and they usually have a heads up, and they're given the animation and the footage of the show months in advance before it comes out, right? And so they usually tend to be only like a week or two behind the Japanese dub nowadays. So
Yeah,
dub companies have come a long way
for
nowadays.
sure.
But the Yakuza games, I have not liked the dub. I did not like the dub of the
I didn't
recent
care
ones.
for it.
Infinite Wealth
No,
dub, I didn't. I would not play that in
no.
even though, as you said, it was a little jarring. All these white people in Hawaii are speaking full Japanese.
Yeah,
I just,
very strange.
I just had to just pretend, just get over it.
It's like I just pretend that like Majima has one of those universal translator things from Star Trek or some bullshit. Like
Yeah,
whatever, who cares?
yeah, exactly. But I'm day one. I mean, this game looks amazing.
Yep.
It looks awesome.
I'm still still very cautiously optimistic about this game. A couple of things didn't make me concerned, but skeptical. Like Seb said, if we get a demo, then I think my skepticism will be eased, and I'm probably am day one just because RGG.
Yeah,
I generally trust them. Yakuza Zero is amazing. Infinite Wealth, and Like a Dragon were both amazing. I mean, they have a good track record. I
yeah,
pretty much trust them. I like a demo just so I know how this is gonna actually
yeah.
play.
This game was giving me major mafia vibes, and obviously Yakuza and Mafia are similar, both criminal organizations and things like that. But I was really getting like because it's old school, like early turn of the century, 20th century, where like crime and mafia and people were wearing like those kind of suits and things like that. Like that's why I was getting a very, and the color scheme was very brownish and tan. You know what I'm talking about? It has like that
Yeah,
mafia look to it.
sure.
I was thinking of the Old Country game.
Oh yeah, speaking of the old country and the mafia, you do run into. They mentioned this in the Xbox look, but you do run into the Italian mafia. That's going to be very funny when you have Italian gangsters from New York like speaking fluent Japanese. Hey, konnichiwa. Hey. Anyway,
I really hope they get Japanese people to do Italian accents.
that'd be so good, dude. Oh my god. All right.
Buongiorno. All right, let's move on to our two spotlights, which are going to be Directive 8020 and Mixtape. Let's get started with Directive 8020, which is a cinematic sci-fi horror game from Supermassive Games and is part of the Dark Pictures anthology. They've made so many games in this franchise at this point where they literally have their own logo now. It has like a
Yep.
MCU kind of logo. So the game follows the crew of the spaceship. How do you say the ship's name?
The Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia, and who travels to a distant planet after Earth becomes nearly uninhabitable. But after something crashes into the ship, the crew discovers a hostile alien life form. It can imitate humans, turning the mission to a paranoia-filled survival horror story. So just think of The Thing. It's The Thing, Among Us, whatever you want to call it. It's been done a million times, but it's The Thing.
Yep.
Not as good as The Thing, and we'll get into all that.
No.
But it's The Thing. So let's start with the positives, though. I mean,
Yeah.
because I don't hate this game. It's definitely average, but I don't hate the game.
Right.
So let's get with the pros. So this has a really awesome sci-fi horror atmosphere. The space setting and the paranoia angle works really, really well. Like for example, the lighting of the areas where it's flashing lights and it's dark and it's creepy looking and it has a really spooky vibe. Like it does a great job. It has the alien isolation, alien vibe to it. Dead space. It captures that really well. Callisto Protocol. So, what did you think of the atmosphere?
Yeah, I also thought this was probably the best part of the game pretty easily. The graphics in general are very good, with some exceptions we'll talk about later. But yeah, generally the ship looked really good. The tone, atmosphere, aesthetic of the game translated very well. Even if I wasn't always enamored with everything I played or saw, generally felt the tension coming from the music and the atmosphere. The ambiance of it was very well executed, generally speaking.
Yes, the visuals of this game are really good. The character models, for the most part, look really good. The alien
Yep.
creatures look cool. The environments are well
Yes.
detailed. Like the
The alien
environments are,
creatures in
yeah,
particular. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the body horror in this game is fantastic. It does a great job.
Yes.
Like it's probably the best part of the game. It's really why I would recommend people play this game on sale, uh, because of that. The visuals are just really cool. There's some visual issues sometimes. Some of the character models have a little blurriness around their heads and things like that. Like some character, I don't know what it was. The shading has some issues, but for the most part, I had pretty much no issues. The frame rate was great. Visuals look fantastic. Awesome ray tracing. This game is very pretty to look at. Even though some of the character faces look off, which I'll talk about in the cons, but for the most part, visually stunning and the atmosphere is amazing. And that's the probably the two highlights of the game. Those are like the two biggest highlights of the game because there's a drop off after that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why I would recommend this game on sale. This is a cool game to play with your friends or like a family member during Halloween or something. When it's
Or
like,
like if you're like a big streamer or you just have a lot of friends, you can like
yeah,
because there's a Twitch integration too that you can do
yeah,
that in your chat and make you or vote for you to do certain disastrous things. So
yeah.
that could be fun.
There are different choices. There's a big map now. It was kind of like Detroit Become Human kind of map, and there's
Yeah.
different pathways you can go. And I really love the new turning point system. I that was a cool feature where you don't like what you did, you can rewind and go back. And
Yes. I also appreciated that.
I just wish they allowed me to fast forward through dialogue and cutscenes or whatever because I just saw this. I don't want to sit through this again. I don't
Yeah,
understand what.
I will talk about that at length
Yeah,
in my cons.
that's
But
always
yeah,
been my one of my biggest cons
I
of these games.
yeah, I'm gonna hold off. I really want to go off on it, but yeah, I'm not going to. I will instead say I agree. This was very cool. It's great because you can either play survival mode and have your choices stay the way they are. Although in saying that, even then you can go into the pause menu and you can still go into your choices and go back. I'm pretty sure. At least the IGN review said that. I don't know because I didn't try survival mode. Or you can do explorer mode, which I did. And I don't I mean, if you want the true like Dark Pictures anthology experience, you should probably do survival mode. But I wanted to be able to reverse my choices so I get the best ending possible on my first run because I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna even if this was an 8 out of 10. I because IGN and Gaming Bolt both gave this an 8 out of 10. And I don't think I watched the Game Ranks preview before you
Yeah.
buy. But yeah, they both gave an 8 out of 10. So I was like, okay, well, even if it is a great game, I want a good result on my first try, which I did. I mean, one thing got messed up, and I'll talk about that later. But yeah, overall, I like the turning point system. It was very cool. Do have to be careful though, because you can get spoiled very easily.
Yeah. This is one of those games where like you might benefit from a guide unless you really want to like go in blindly.
Yeah,
It
which could
depends
be
on
its own fun.
yeah, because it. Well, I'll talk about when we get to the cons. Um, this probably has the best gameplay in the series. Although that's not really saying much because it really doesn't have much gameplay. These are very cinematic, focused games, obviously. Um, but this game added stealth elements to it, and there's a lot of controlling your character. It felt like a legitimate third-person action game, survival horror action game. Like it felt like a Resident Evil game sometimes when you're fully controlling the character because these games are always been very like telltale like you basically just walk around the room and pick up an object or something, and this game still is mostly that, but there's several elements where you're like sneaking around and running from the monsters and so on and so forth. So they've added some really cool elements in this game. It has even has self-defense mechanisms. If you get grabbed, you could just hit the enemy with the weapon. So those are all cool features. These are all really positive directions for this franchise because it was getting stale and it needed some added gameplay elements to it. All right. It also has no. It has a great co-op and group experience, right? Like as we already said, and Dory mentioned about Twitch. Like these games are meant to be played with friends. So like
Yep.
you can still play by yourself and have no problems, and that's what I did. But
Yeah.
these games are meant to be played with like friends and like make decisions. Although with the way the story is gone, like I haven't beaten it, but I'm like chapter 7 at the end of chapter 7, which is there's only 8 chapters, so I'm like basically at the end. there's half this game is not really even like, barely has aliens in it, and there's barely anything to interact with your friends with. Like there's no like he did this, and there's no like it's so linear that there's no like there's not enough elements where you can be like,
Yeah. I would say half of the chapters don't even matter. Maybe the first 3 chapters
yeah.
just
It,
barely have anything to do with the aliens. It's very frustrating.
yeah, like the first 3 chapters are just straight up building up to the
They're just build up and they're very slow and it's
and
just
only 8 chapters.
yeah.
That's like half the game is literally just building up.
It's almost half the game.
Yeah.
I'll talk about my pros because we're already getting into the cons and it's hard not to because we have way more negative than positive.
Yeah.
I will say the needle drops at the end of each chapter felt well considered. The music was generally solid. Nothing like extremely memorable, but overall I liked it whenever music got introduced, whether that was ambient music during chase sequences or stealth sequences or just, like I said, the needle drop when they played a specific song front to back. Then I would also say that, no spoilers, but there is a cool twist towards the end that I personally didn't see coming. Now, I'm not sure if that's just because the game didn't set it up very well, or if there were obvious signs and I just missed them. But there is a cool twist, and I think it's revealed in chapter 7 or chapter 8. You know, and I thought it was neat. I was at a 5, and I was like, you know what, this is a cool enough twist. I'm at a 6.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool little twist.
I think I know the twist you're talking about because I did that part before I stopped, and that was chapter 7. But it was a pretty big reveal, so I would imagine.
Yeah, I think exactly. Yes, I think it's exactly what you're thinking it is.
Okay.
But yeah, it has to do with the transmission.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, I won't say anything more. I will say every now and then, I'm not a huge fan of the writing, but every now and then there's a funny line or something interesting that a character says. It's way too sporadic to be like super impressive, but every now and then I'm like, okay, the writing team has something. They have some of the sauce, just not a lot of it. I don't know where it went.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Seb already kind of mentioned this with the body horror comment, but the death screens are very cool. I didn't see many of them because I generally made the right choice.
Yeah.
Not humble brag. And also, I used a guide towards the end, too, because I wanted to make sure.
I won't even see them because I always go for the Everybody Survives playthrough, and then I stop.
Yeah. I tried to as well, though unfortunately I failed, and there's one of your reasons ties into why. But and then we also talked about this, but the monsters are just fucking cool. Now they're nothing innovative; we've seen them before, but I do think that they're very cool. They're very well stylized. Graphically, they're impressive. The details are very fine and good. The monsters are cool. Is I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But now we get to the cons, and boy howdy, there are a lot of cons.
Yeah. Let me just be clear before I get into the cons that I don't hate this game. I don't think it's like a horrible game. I just think it's very average. I think it's very average.
Yes.
Which pretty much lines up with most of their games. So let's start with the characters. Obviously, this is a narrative game, so it's mostly walking, talking, and picking dialogue and making choices. And so, obviously, these kind of games rely heavily on the characters being likable and being into the story. And unfortunately, the story is quite generic. I mean, it's the thing, and we've seen it a million times. Oh, yep. Is he the monster the whole time? Is she the monster the whole time? And then they even did
it's never convincing. There's only one time I was fooled, and the game made it like so unclear that I had been fooled until the very, very end, where if I have to, because of the turning point system, I can go back to when I got fooled, but then I'd have to replay like an hour and a half of the game just to get the perfect ending. I'm like, fuck that. The game's not good enough to justify, at least as far as I understood the turning point system, because like even if you change one thing about the timeline, you have to go back and play through the whole chapter.
Yeah.
And then I think the next chapter too, so it'll hold.
Yeah, you have to start from that point. It's like basically the starting point.
Yeah, which is super annoying. I get why it's like that, but it's frustrating because it's like I don't want to play another hour and a half for a choice that I didn't even know was the wrong one.
Right. And the characters are just very shallow. They're not likable. Like they try with a couple of the characters, but for the most part, I just don't care for anyone.
There's just nothing to latch onto. Like Young and Stafford keep talking about Bill and her dad and how Stafford made a promise to protect her, and I'm like, I don't feel anything for these characters because I don't know who Bill was
Nothing
or
shown.
how he was as a character. they barely show Bill or don't
Yeah.
show him at all.
Yeah, you always got to
There-
show, you don't tell. And they just never
yeah, and
showed
it's
that.
like there's just a lot of telling about how great of a dad he was and how Stafford is basically her adopted father at this point. And it's like I don't know, it just doesn't do anything for me the way it's written and the way it's performed. So
It's such a common problem in pretty much all their games that it's just really it. At the end of the day, these are meant to be like slasher games. So like the characters are just meant to be killed off, basically.
right.
But because it's a video game and you basically you have the kill everybody playthrough, we also have like the survive everybody survives playthrough. Like no one's getting killed off. It's a slasher film when no one dies because everybody's surviving, and it doesn't
Yeah.
work because everybody's getting development at the same time, but all the development is one dimensional because they're meant to be killed off because they're
Right.
because it's a
And
slasher film.
also yeah, and also like the IGN review noted this too. By the end of the game, like chapter 7, chapter 8, half the crew could be gone. So I sympathize with Supermassive Games here because this must be such a complex flowchart. I mean, we see the flowchart, right? And that's probably just the basic version
Yeah.
for us as the players. I can't even imagine the studio's flowchart for how complicated this must be.
Yeah.
But a lot of the characters just don't say anything by chapter 8.
Yeah.
It feels like you're in a room full of ghosts and they might as well be dead because they're not saying shit.
Yeah.
Why did I save these characters? They're not saying anything interesting.
No, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
say what you want about David Cage, the Detroit Become Human did the map system so much better. Like this scenario,
Yeah.
I just felt like we're way better in that game because it pretty much copies that exact map. But the thing is with this game is, as I said, it's a slasher game. But if everybody in your playthrough survives, then you're forced to have development of all these characters, and then none of them are just likable at all. They have some backstory, like Joseph being gay and his husband died, and he felt bad for him. Like live his life to the fullest, that kind of thing.
It was such a casual,
and then they just move on. So like they don't even like address like nothing.
It's so like he's just so casually gay. I was like, okay, like he's gay. So what? I'm queer. Like, but like for me, it was like such a nothing moment. I'm like, okay, he's gay. Like, I mean, good. That's good. I'm glad we're doing inclusivity, but it just felt like such a nothing character trait. He was like a gay, very philosophical person. Wasn't he into stage acting too, or something like that?
I don't remember that one, but
maybe that was a different character. But anyway, it's hard to remember.
And they made what's the guy's name? William was the black guy name?
Yeah, Mr. Williams, the CEO.
Like he just douchebag the whole time, and like I'm like, they're trying to make him like the villain, and I'm just like, this wasn't like established anywhere. Like they just made him this douchebag out of nowhere, and like, can we like, I don't know.
And one of the crew like decides to investigate him, and it just comes out of nowhere that like he's maybe got some dirt, and she basically has no reason for doing it. That's also the same crew member, by the way, who I had this. It's literally a left or a right to save this crew member, and the game doesn't tell you which one is the right one. And even when they do tell you, it's way at the end of the game when you've already made the choice, which was so annoying. Because I'm like, I am not going through respectfully this average ass game to just save one crew member. Because the best ending you can get, as far as I can tell, isn't even that good. Like it's just that I can't say it. But it's not even that good. I mean, in terms of like positivity. I know it's a horror game, so that's fine. But it's like why would I go back to save one crew member? And then it doesn't even. Sorry, one last thing. It doesn't even matter because when you find out towards the end of the game that you've been fooled and that one of them has been replaced, it doesn't go anywhere. Nothing happens. Like there's no consequence. Nothing. It just bothers me so much. Like nothing happens because of your choice. It just Anyway,
like William, they had him. He just came out of the pod, and then 10 minutes later, he's like the villain. That we have to like sedate him. We have to like snoop into what he's up to. Like
it did make for a very funny out of context line. Like, can we please stop drugging everybody else or something like that?
Yeah,
I was like, that is a very funny out of context line.
Yeah. So I had issues with that, and some of the choices were like so vague, and like you have gave me no foreshadowing or indications of why this choice is right and this one's not.
Yeah.
Like you basically have to follow a guide, if you want like the best ending, because some of it doesn't make any sense. Like some of these choices that make absolutely no sense, and there's no build up. There's no, you gotta have some foreshadowing or something. Like if a character like does something with another character all the time, like they always have like the really cool fist bump with each other. Like that's a sign. Oh, something's off because they're not doing it right now. Like there was a lot of the buildup was not there. Like for example, and it even does the trope, which I always get annoyed when they do like these imitation storylines where which one is the real one? And you have the gun pointing at both of them. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so tropey. Uh, okay, so that's the story. Story just doesn't click, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I also don't like the stealth in this game. There is just too much stealth in this game, and
Way too much.
I generally don't like stealth anyway. But that's not even besides the point. There's so much stealth, and the stealth doesn't even matter in this game. You can literally just run by them, do the objective, get caught, shock them, and then run by. Like you can't die, like basically, because
Yeah.
as long as you
I
hit
think.
the X button,
Go ahead.
as long as you hit the X button, you stun them. So I was basically speed running the game. I'm like, I'm not stunning. I'm not even gonna stealth anymore. I was just running by them, doing what I need to do.
I should have done that.
Like that's all. Like you were
Yeah.
not punished for getting caught. So I was like, you know what?
I think I only died once, maybe twice, and I'm notoriously pretty bad at stealth. So this stealth is not particularly challenging. It's not particularly interesting. It's very repetitive. It's like they developed and discovered this one fucking mechanic, which has been around already for like 20 years at minimum, and then just bashed our heads in with it. Like it's just so repetitive, so redundant. It happens so often. I didn't mind it at first, and it does feel tense. But it's like, yeah, you can just parry them, stun them, and then just run away. I think after you parry them the first time, if you get caught again, then you're done for.
Barely.
But still, it wasn't a big deal because then you just rewind and I mean you lose a couple minutes, but I don't know. It just didn't click with me. It didn't feel very satisfying. It just felt more like, oh, I gotta go through this again.
Yeah. It was, and there's so many missions where you had to just tail one of them and just follow them, and it was like it happened.
It's so annoying.
They did like 10 times.
The running sections were pointless. Like you just ran and that was it. And like every now and then you had to move left or to the right. I felt like I was watching one of those fucking YouTube videos that they put on for kids, where it's like you're like going to the left and going to the right and then jumping every now and then, like over and over again. Like once or twice is fine, as we'll talk about a mixtape, but like over and over again, it's just so uninteresting and bland. I just don't care. And it's easy. There's no challenge. There's no fear of getting caught by these slow, dumb fucking things. I ran by one of them once, or not ran by, but like I was right here, and the enemy came up right here, and they just have no peripheral vision. They didn't even look at me. I don't know how the fuck. Yeah,
the AI is not great either. Like I swear, I was right in front of it, and they still didn't see me. But like I just ran by them, and like because the game is so scripted, the storyline has it as if I stealth. So even though the monster was right behind me chasing me, it's once you get to a certain point, it just like jumps to a scene, and it's like, oh, you stealth behind the monster the whole time, and it just was goofy. The stealth was just not great in this game. This game has pacing issues. Like there's times I'm like I'm actually into what's going on, and then it's just it just jumps to another character and then just drags, and like this game should just had a smaller cast. But the thing is, that's the whole point of the game, right? To have a big cast, getting into that slasher genre where these characters are supposed to be killed off, but because it's a video game and everybody's surviving, it's jumping around too much, and I'm not caring about half these characters, and I'm into one character and then it jumps to another. Because like the Williams thing could have been done cool, like if it was more developed, but we're so focused on 5 different characters. Some of the characters don't even do anything, and they're jumping to them. I'm like, it just feels like filler. Like that's what this game has. It has a lot of filler, a lot of pacing issues. Like I said earlier, the first 3 chapters are just setting it up, but there's only 8 chapters in this game, so like we're getting like almost halfway to the game. And we're just now establishing the thing monsters. And it does like really nothing with it.
Yeah, they really don't. The game sells itself on how the mimics could be anybody, and like they're copying everybody, and like you never know. But the game barely grapples with that at
Yeah.
all. It just
Yeah.
it doesn't even. I think I would bet no money, but I would bet like fake money, Monopoly money, that all the scenes where you actually have to make decisions about who's real and who's not a real crewmate could take up maybe one of the 8 episodes. If I'm being generous,
It was like one chapter or maybe 2. But it was basically one chapter. But like, it was It's also because I don't like the way the story is set up. It jumps around in time. It jumps to the past, jumps to the future.
I didn't get that either.
I don't like that. I don't
didn't
why.
feel like that brought. I didn't feel like that did anything for the narrative or otherwise. Because also too, like I had just started getting slightly, and I mean slightly, connected to a couple of the characters, and then they jump forward way in time to some action set where things have gone disastrously wrong to make you wonder how things have gone wrong.
Exactly.
But it also makes you like less invested in the present because no matter what you do, it's going to end up being that shit fest. I mean, you kind of already know that anyway.
It spoils the game. Because because you think like, oh, this character's gonna die. The only way they can take over their form is if they die first. But no, like they could just be whatever, and like it took me out. They ruined the whole story in the first 3 chapters.
Yeah.
Anyway, I already talked about the gameplay, and the luck based rather than logic with the choices. Like sometimes it's just like there's no context. You just have to guess, and that's not good. You mentioned the voice acting feeling wooden, and I also have a problem with the facial animation sometimes. Like it still has that uncanny valley look to it. Like I mean, they obviously have come a long way, but still, they look like really good 3D faces on like very robotic bodies. Like their bodies are very stiff, but their faces are very animated, and it's just we're not there yet, I guess, or at least. I don't know.
Or they're not there yet.
Or they're not there yet. I mean, I feel like I've seen better games.
I feel like The Last of Us did this like 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I think Naughty Dog has accomplished this, but they just keep. You know what I'm talking about? The faces are very just expressive because it's the real actors' faces and everything.
Right.
But the bodies are all just like, video game bodies. They're just 3D models. They look very stiff and robotic.
Yeah, I do feel like the voice acting was wooden. I blame the direction. Usually it's an issue of direction because, people know how to talk and voice actors generally know how to voice act. So I don't really know what else to do except blame the director because everybody felt like it wasn't like 1 or 2. Because if it was 1 or 2 characters, I could blame the voice actors, which I don't like doing, but I could. It would make some sense. It would make more sense. But it was everybody. Everyone felt so disinterested, so cold, so uninvolved, unimpressed, not interested in the fact that they're in mortal peril 24/7. I don't know. It just everybody felt like, and they had a couple of like names on this game, especially the one who plays young is supposed to be like a bona fide actor.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what happened, but everybody felt like they could. Maybe they just didn't care. Maybe the paycheck wasn't clearing or wasn't good. I don't fucking know. But nobody sounded like they wanted to be there.
There's no panic. There's no crying. There's no like freaking out. Like everybody's just like nonchalant about being on stuck on an alien planet with a monster chase. Like the thing chasing them. And they're not even like they're not all soldiers or anything. They're like scientists and stuff. Like they're regular people. Like they're not a bunch of Marines. It's not
like
aliens.
people can tease Grace for her stutter as much as they want, but I mean, at least it was fucking realistic compared to this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
everybody's like Leon in this game, and it's like it's not earned. Yeah, it's not earned.
Yeah, it's not earned at all. I think the writing is super inconsistent. I never felt connected to what was being said on the screen, the way things were described, how issues were resolved. It just felt dull, ill-considered. Just not good. Just generally, I didn't like the writing. I didn't think the characters had much of interest or import to say. I've seen Dark Pictures Anthologies game where the characters are actually good, right? House of Ashes and especially Until Dawn, right? Those are 2 of the stalwarts of the franchise.
Even the Quarry did it better.
Even the Quarry has some good stuff. Like I still thought that was like a pretty good game or a good game.
Yeah.
This is not either of those things.
This is on the bottom tier of these games.
Yeah, it's definitely on the bottom tier. I did have some, as opposed to Seb, I had some minor stuttering issues. Nothing huge, and I was able to fix it by tinkering with settings. But I did that's one of the times I got caught during a stealth section is when my game was fucking freaking out, of course. I also feel like the story is just like too derivative. We talked about this a little bit, so I won't like I won't overexpose the point here, but it's just the thing with hints of Alien and Dead Space plus The Last of Us. Like the main antagonist is just basically the Borg or Mind Flayers. Like I'm trying to like say this
Stranger
without
Things. Yeah.
yeah, it's just Stranger Things, but like make it more fungally. Like I'm trying to like to not give any
No,
spoilers
you're
away,
right.
but it's just kind of disappointing.
It's the Last of Us and Stranger Things combined.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
even the monster looks like a Demigorgon. Let's be real.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that too. I
Yeah.
also thought that the secrets didn't feel worth it whenever I picked up a secret or
Yeah,
a
the
transmission
collectibles
or
in this game are
something.
so boring. Like, there's just no
Yeah,
reason to even do
they're
it.
all just boring
For
transmissions.
achievement hunters, that's it.
Yeah. So let's see. I already talked about going back to change something. It can look simple, but it can also spoil you if you're not careful. Additionally, if you do change something, you need to replay the whole fucking game with that new choice. So that just makes it a slog.
Yeah.
And the thing I wanted to rant about earlier. Why? Why can't you skip dialogue in cutscenes that you have already seen? This game, and Life is Strange did this too. I'm not letting Life is Strange off the hook just because I love that franchise and I think it's a really great game, Reunion specifically. Why? Why? I don't understand. Why can't you skip the cutscenes? Why can't you at least skip the dialogue? It doesn't make any sense. These games are all about replayability. But what is the point of watching this stuff that we've already seen before? It just doesn't make it just blows my mind. We're in 2026. You can't say anymore that it's a lack of tech. You can't say anymore that it's a lack of not knowing. We're not in
It's been
Telltale.
done.
Like this isn't The Walking Dead anymore. Like devs should know better. Like
Yeah.
you're just wasting our time for no reason. It drives me up a wall.
I totally agree. Like, it's been done by other games. All you gotta do is hold down the R1 button and fast forwards through it. Skip sections. Even the map, it should be like subsections of a chapter instead of just making you start the whole chapter over again.
It's
Or
just yeah, and the flow chart is like the whole entire chapter.
yeah, it should be
I've
more.
said this a
It's
couple times
barely
now,
broken
but
down.
yeah, I have said this a couple times, but it's really worth emphasizing. Like, if you want to play this game, be careful when you're on that flowchart because they do not hide details. If you go forward or backwards or whatever, and in the flowchart and you get curious, like, don't because you are going to spoil yourself on pause. If you care about that stuff, right? Some players don't care, but I think a lot of people playing this kind of game would care.
Yeah,
But yeah, just be careful on the flowchart is all I'm saying.
yeah.
Last con, which feels like a minor thing, but is a major thing, I think. They never explain why Earth is dying. They never explain what the fuck's going on. Sorry to break it to you, Seb. Chapter 8 never goes into any details about why Earth is dying, what's happening. We just kind of vaguely see
Fully
that the
expected.
outside is fucked up.
Yeah.
And nothing more. And it's just kind of disappointing on a lore level. Like, don't you trust your audience to like, I don't know, to be able to absorb that? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. It just felt kind of weird.
And that's really ultimately the problem with this game is you think by now where they've made so many narrative games that they would
Yeah.
take the next step with the story and make it more feel like a more of a movie and develop the characters, develop the lore, develop the settings, things like that. And they still have just kept this franchise as mainly a party game for 7 hours where like characters are just supposed to be one dimensional and just killed off. But they just don't take they're just keeping it the same way. They're not taking the next step. They don't care if this game is a 6 or 7 out of 10. They just it sells well. Let's just keep making more. That's basically what it is. It just feels like these games feel like they're made in a factory now.
Yeah.
Different settings, still feels like the same thing, and even more so with some of the characters in this game. I've seen those actors in other games from them, so it is just a little jarring for me too. I'm like, oh, I know, I've seen that guy's face in another game. I've seen this
Right.
act. They've reused this actor several times. So it just feels like it's all made in a factory. It feels like Disney Channel. We're just pumping things out, and,
Yeah.
and that's
At
that's
this
the
point,
problem.
we need an alternative to Dark Pictures Anthology because it's just not doing it. And
Yeah.
I say that with a heavy heart because I do, despite how schlocky it can be, and I love schlock. There are people like I love Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That's a good film. I mean, good, you know. But I like B movies, you know. Like I enjoy schlock. I enjoy slasher films. I think
Right.
you know Jason Returns is a great is a good film. excuse me, I think the original is good. Halloween's one of my favorite franchise. Et cetera, et cetera. I love The Thing. I love Alien and Aliens. I love
Right.
Dead Space. Love Last of
Same.
Us. So there's lots of stuff in this game that means I should love it, but I don't.
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated because I wanted to love this game.
There's no reason they can't make these games more AAA and more like gameplay focused. Like they clearly have
Yeah.
gone in that direction with this game because this game has a lot of stealth and running around and moving around and things like that. Like they could clearly make a Dead Space kind of game. Like they're
Yeah.
just choosing not to. But there's a perfect example of what you're talking about. Like when they don't show what happening to Earth. Like this game could have easily like started the game off the first like 5-10 minutes of narrative just showing you like what's going on with Earth, and like and not even in like a exposition way where it's someone
Right.
talking over a picture. I talk about like have a scene where like or like where you're moving the character around like a town or something, and like just build up the lore so I'm more invested in the story. Like
Yep.
but these games are just meant to be 7 hour like slasher films, and that's all they're going to be. So these games are always just going to be that. Sometimes they click more, like House of Ashes or Until Dawn, but for the most part, they're going to be A Little Hope or The Devil Inside Me or something like that.
Right.
Just basic, average, mediocre slasher games. You play it for 7 hours, you never think about it ever again until the next one comes out for Halloween. These games are like, get it for $10 on sale. I can't recommend this game for $60, $50, whatever it costs.
No.
I got it for $50, so I can't recommend it for that price.
Yeah, I can't either. For me, this game's a 6 out of 10. It was almost a 5 out of 10. If that cool twist hadn't happened, I think I would be comfortably at like a 5.5. But it's okay. It's an okay game.
Yeah.
If you've got friends, if you've got pizza, and dare I say it, if you've got some drugs and alcohol, maybe you might enjoy this. Not that I condone that, of course, but you might enjoy this a bit more. I feel like this is really just at this point Dark Picture Anthology. It's just a party game. I played all the Dark Pictures Anthology games.
Yeah.
Besides The Devil Inside Me. I wasn't rushing out to do that because it's gotten some pretty mixed reviews. Even Little Hope and Man of Medan and stuff like that got like mostly positive or something on Steam. But like, but yeah, I think this is comfortably the worst for me personally, the worst Dark Pictures Anthology game I played. It's at least up there.
Yeah.
I think
it's in that tier.
I think I enjoyed Little Hopes, ironically, a little more than Seb did, but
I hate that game.
I still, yeah, I think the twist at the end of that was shit.
Atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
I'm a little higher on it, but it's like 0.5. It's 6.5. It's okay at best. It's an average game. Like, I think what saves it from being like horrendous, like bad, is just that like it has really awesome visuals. It has a cool atmosphere, and it has like a cool setting. It has like, even though it's been done to death, like it's still a cool concept and everything like that. Like but this game should have been a home run. Like the concept itself, even if it's a trope, if they did it really well, I would have been totally fine with it. I've always said originality is not the most important thing to me. Not everything needs to have innovation. If as long as it's done well, I'm happy. But yeah, this game just did that very averagely.
Yeah.
Very mediocrely. So, all right. Let's transition to the last topic of the night, which is Mixtape, which is a coming-of-age narrative adventure game about three teenage friends spending one final night together before they go their separate ways after high school. The game plays through different memories and moments from their friendship, with each section inspired by music, skate culture, parties, and the teenage experiences. Instead of focusing on combat, it's more about storytelling, emotion, and atmosphere. The huge part of this game is its soundtrack, with licensed music helping shape the tone and gameplay of each scene. So, Mixtape has obviously gotten a very mixed reaction online, as everybody knows. But we won't get into that. We'll just review the game from our perspective. But it is there though. I know people really hate this game, and I know people really love this game. It's one of the most divisive games. Probably gonna be the most divisive game of the year. I don't think this game's gonna be a game of the year contender in terms of like in the top 6 with Jeff Keighley's show and all that. But I do think people are gonna have this criticism when it gets nominated for. It's probably gonna win Indie Game of the Year. I'm picturing this game winning Indie Game of the Year. It's a safe bet.
Can't wait for the fucking discourse. Cannot wait.
Yeah, it's already there. People hate this game. And
No,
people,
I can't wait for the discourse when
oh
when
yeah,
it
yeah.
comes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be there for sure. But let's get
Yeah.
into what our pros, which I have a lot of pros, which because I absolutely love this game.
Yeah.
Um, First of all, the soundtrack. I mean, the soundtrack is the best part of the game, and I think this game would not be as good if the soundtrack was not as good as it is. Soundtrack makes a huge difference. Now, I'm a big Artful Escape fan. Like I really enjoyed that game. That was their first game, and that game had a phenomenal soundtrack too. So this is what I come from to expect from them at this point. And yeah, the music just transcends this game into another tier. Um, it's a whole part of the experience, right? Like basically, this game is one big giant music video. It's like what teenagers do when they're just like sitting around. They just imagine, daydream, and they imagine these crazy music videos and them flying through the sky and pretend like they're on a video on MTV or something like that. That's the whole point of this game, right? Like it's an experience, emotional experience, expressing yourself, and it's all told through music and cinematography and great presentation. Because one of the best parts of this game is the presentation. It's the visuals and the transitions are so seamless and they're just so cool. The cinematography is just so memorable and jaw dropping at times, and it's just so creative. It's just a fun, creative experience. Like it knows what I love about this game is it knows exactly what it wants to be, and it just has fun with it. There's nothing holding it back. It just jumps right into crazy visuals. Obviously, everybody's talking about the kissing minigame, which some people really hate. I thought it was like I chuckled and then I moved on my life. I didn't think it was so heinous.
Yeah,
Like people.
I jokingly messaged you. I said at first I said this game has got the sauce and it's awesome, and I said
Yeah,
never
I
mind. I
saw
just
it.
played that
Yeah,
kissing
yeah,
mini game. Yeah, 0 out of 10. But in reality, I was like, oh, this is fucking terrible. And then I not in a this is a bad game, but like this is true to like how kissing works. Like my first kiss was fucking terrible. And most people's first kisses are awful. So it's something everyone jokes about. So of course this mini game would also be terrible. It's fittingly awful.
yeah,
But yeah, so it was similar to Seb. I laughed. I moved on.
yeah. And I love the animation style. Very into the
Yes.
Spider Verse. I've been a sucker for
I,
this
I
style.
feel I feel like you made a great point when we talked about this. There's a lot of people who have imitated the spider, not imitate like it's not just them, but obviously Spider Verse popularized this type of
Yeah,
animation, and now a lot of other people have done it too. And I struggle to think of anyone who's done it and then gone on to like do anything bad with it. It feels like this fucking animation style comes
yeah.
with nothing but bangers.
Yeah, it's all the rage right now. Unfortunately, it's going to start declining because more and more people are going to start using it. But I mean,
Yeah.
you watch the Mall show, like they did that animation style, and it looks
I
incredible. It looked
heard that yeah,
incredible.
they did it too, and it worked for them as well. So
Yeah, the Puss in Boots movie
yes,
was
Puss in Boots, I love
phenomenal.
that. The Last
That was
Wish,
a
so good.
phenomenal movie. Yep.
Phenomenal movie.
Arcane did it. A phenomenal show.
Arcane did it to great effect. Yep.
So it's a really good art style, and it works for this game really well.
Yes.
Because I think it's a nice contrast with like because obviously if they went for more of a well, I won't say realistic, but if they went more a little realistic, it would have felt Life is Strange like. This makes it stand out a little more, right? With the unique art style, and it's really cool. Um, what do you think of the cinematography and the presentation overall, like the music, everything like that?
Yeah, I loved it. I know some people have their criticisms that some of the picks feel a little weird for a teenager in the '90s. I can see that, but I also think that I think one of my biggest things that I like about the game is that yes, Rockford, Slater, and Cassandra are amalgamations of different people, right? They're not they're not one single person that you would have known in the '90s. They're very different people made up of different musical genres and tones and stuff like that. It's not supposed to be a perfect amalgamation of the '90s. That's why the game says that it is a soundtrack for a generation because it's a generation. It is not. It doesn't say it's a soundtrack for the '90s or a soundtrack for the '80s. It is a soundtrack for a generation. This is supposed to be, in my opinion, and I think from what Beethoven and Dinosaur's kind of director has said, it's a multitude of things, and you could totally think that doesn't work. By the way, I think it works. It obviously leads to weird situations where Rockford knows these very strange Australian hits that I've never heard of in my life, or very weird singles from the 60s and 70s and 80s that I've also never heard of. And I, feel like I've listened to quite a bit of music in my life at 34. But I don't care. I simply don't care. It doesn't bother me. I think I think if you had Rockford, and Rockford, by the way, is one of the main, not antagonists. What is the word I'm thinking of? Opposite of protagonist.
Yeah.
One of the main protagonists of the game. She is completely obsessed with music. It infects her life. It's part of her. If there's one person, and she's a complete snob about it too, which I know some people say that makes her unlikable, but that's kind of the point. Anyway, also, many of us were snobs when we were teenagers. I was a snob when I was a teenager, and I still am partially a snob, just more tolerable. But yeah, I think generally it's good. To answer your question, I think the way that they handle the aesthetic is good. If I could believe anybody knows these obscure Australian tracks or 60s or 70s songs, plus kids from the 90s would have had parents who were alive in the 60s, 70s. So it's not impossible. But anyway, I think it's good. I think the soundtrack is excellent. I personally want to listen to it once I'm done with I'm going back on a Rage Against the Machine kick, one of my favorite bands of all time. So I'm going through their discography and then a couple side projects. But after that, I'm probably going to go through the soundtrack itself. There's some things I have minor issues with, which I've already talked about. I don't like Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins, mostly just because he's a transphobe. But yeah, but that's like a minor thing, and most people don't know that. It's kind of an obscure thing. Yeah, overall, I think the soundtrack's very well considered. I know I said that earlier about Directive 8020. But yeah, it's good. It's curated very well. And every time it was used in a gameplay scenario or a chase scenario or controlling Rockford doing something nuts, I felt locked in. I was engaged like a lot. It reminded me of when you're doing those mini games or really fun bits in It Takes Two, or Split Fiction, right? When you're just super in the moment in those games with their mini games. I know people could keep complaining about the gameplay, but I actually think the gameplay is one of its strongest parts. I think the mini games are by and large very fun. Now there's a couple of ones that I didn't super like, but they weren't like bad either.
Yeah, one of the best parts of this game is the pacing.
Yes.
Cause it's so fast and it gets right to the point and everything that even the mini games that don't click, it's so fast and it lets you skip it basically. You can stay there for 5 minutes or you can stay there for 20 minutes and play with the mini game. It's up to you.
Yeah.
But you have so many options that the pacing in this game is really really good. I do
It's
think
very good.
I do think this game could be looking at an hour long, and I'll get into that in the cons. But it knows what like I said earlier, it knows what it wants to be, which is telling a really cool story in 3 hours and just giving you awesome visuals. So I think the pacing in this game really shines. Pacing is everything in a game, honestly. As much as gameplay is important, pacing can really hurt the game. So I think this game did a great job at that. I think this game did a great job with the nostalgia atmosphere to it. Now, I can't really relate to it, and I'll talk about the con. It's not like a con, but I can't really relate to it because I'm a 90s kid, but I was 7 years old in 2000. So I only got elementary school in the 90s. I'm more of a 2000s kid. And but still, I'm very aware of the 90s. I know a lot of the 90s, and the 2000s we consumed a lot of 90s stuff. The 90s didn't just go away when 2000. The 2000s took until 2003, 2004 to start being the 2000s, right? Yeah. We had VHS and we started, we watched all that stuff. So we consumed.
Yeah, I had a tape recorder when I was a child. I'm slightly older than Seb, but not
just
by
one
much.
Year.
When it was 2000, I was 9.
Well, you were born in 92, right? I was born in 93.
91.
91. I was born in
91.
93.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a couple years older than you. So I was like 9. So I almost was in middle school by the time the 90s were over, almost. Or I think I was in like 4th grade or something like that. So almost out of elementary school. But yeah, but I still remember a good portion of the 90s. I remember playing on a Mac and playing those very, very basic, point and click games and shooter games and stuff like that on my grandmother's PC. I remember having a voice recorder, like I said. I remember the boy bands, and
Yeah.
I remember the 90s. I don't have the best recollection of it. I have a better recollection of the 2000s. I think even though I'm a little bit older than Seb, I would still say I was more of a, if I had to pick one or the other, I have more memories of the 2000s than I do the 90s. Although I'm probably
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm more nostalgic for. I'm in that weird spot where I was a kid for a lot of the 90s, but I grew up really in the 2000s. So I'm kind of nostalgic for both.
But I'm more nostalgic for the late 90s. And the late 90s is definitely different than this game. This game feels very mid 90s or early 90s. It feels like
like Cassandra has
era.
like a softball camp 92 shirt or something like that, 93.
This feels like,
you know what's fucked up too?
Go ahead,
these all 3 of these kids, sorry. All 3 of these kids are now, like, I estimated, like, in their upper 40s, early 50s now, which is fucked up, because if like they're 18 in their early to mid 90s, they're like in their 40s now, at least.
Millennials,
which is nuts.
Older millennials. I'm like, I guess I'm a young millennial.
No,
I grew up in the late 90s, so like when I think of the 90s, for me, it's not like the grunge era, like the Seattle bands and Nirvana and things like that. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
People wear like the plaid shirt around their waist, that kind of thing. When I think of the 90s, I think of Pokemon and Beanie Babies and like the late 90s, like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, like, cause that's the era
boy bands
was what I grew up with. That's not this game. This game is clearly early 90s, and but I still know all this. I know what the era they're going for. Like the characters, as you said, fill an archetype really well, right? Like I forget the boy's name.
Slater.
Like I've seen that character in many games, in many movies, in many shows. The mustache, teenage boy with the little weird mustache.
It's a wilderness.
The beanie, so like the long hair, the skating, is very. I want to say it's generic. It's not generic, but it's
it's tropey. It's supposed
familiar.
to be.
It's familiar.
Supposed to be of its time. Yeah.
But I would say it's familiar. They get away with it in this game because they do a great. I think they do a great job with it. Now I do get the criticisms, and I'll talk about that in the cons. Even though it's not my cons, I can see what people are seeing. I think that they did a great job with that, capturing that.
I agree.
I think they did a great job overall capturing a moment in time, which you and I have both experienced. And this is one thing we can relate to, is when you graduate high school, and you basically go on your separate ways from all your friends. Like my friends all went their separate ways. Because I went to a very not fancy high school. We didn't wear like dress code, that kind of dress code or anything like that. But it was like a top 10 school in the country, and all my friends became very successful people. And they went to Pennsylvania, they went to New York, they went to California, they went to different parts of Florida, they went to Connecticut, they went to Massachusetts. I lost all my friends, my high school friends after. So we got to basically have one summer together, and then that was it. And I keep in touch with them maybe every 2 or 3 years, unfortunately. Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
And then that's it. I can relate to this game because this game really focuses on that. This is their last day together, and this game is very self-aware. Like the things they want to accomplish, they're probably not going to accomplish. Like she's probably not going to be what she wants to be.
No,
they're probably going to be like boring office workers or like real estate agents or something like that. But
like
the game
Slater's
is self-aware,
the most realistic person in the game. When they're like, "Hey, well, Slater, what are you gonna do with the summer?" It's like, I don't know. I'm probably gonna work at a sports store or a burger joint.
Exactly.
I'm like, aim for the top, Slater.
Yeah. I mean, it's realistic. It's a very realistic game.
Yeah, it's realistic. I had someone complain that like nobody would ever say in real life, I choose to be a disappointment to my parents. But isn't that what teenagers always choose to do anyway? Like, they might
Yeah.
as well vocalize it. Plus, it's not a serious statement anyway. Like, they're not dead serious when they say it. It's ironic, right? The 90s were dripped in irony, and the 2000s were even more because of the internet.
Yeah.
I feel like you're right. The game is very self-aware. It knows it's not a particularly serious story. The main plot, and this isn't really a spoiler at all, is about getting booze and getting to a party, and that's it. Those are the stakes. Like,
It's just being a teenager. That's what it's
it's
about.
teenage stuff. It's not that serious. It's nice to just have a fucking game where contrary to 80/20, the end of the world's not at stake. It's just about getting invited to a party by a cool girl who wants to throw a rager, and it's going to get busted up by the police,
Yeah.
but you're going to have cool memories. Like, yeah, it's low stakes. I
Yeah.
like that.
Not only that, but this game is very abstract. Like, this is the kind of game for me who like thinks
Yeah.
about things deeply and feels things deeply, because like I'm a very strong empath and things like that. Like expressing yourself through like a visual or through music, and like that's where this game shines the most. And I feel like
Yeah.
if you're not that kind of person, it just feels like total cringe, or just like it just doesn't feel like that kind of.
Yeah.
Because some people are very concrete, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
for me as an English teacher, a major, like people, I feel a very abstract person. I feel this game more than another person would. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I can get very you know me. I can get very and Kim knows this as well. You can ask Kim. I get very invested in fiction, a lot more than I think real life people sometimes. And like, I've cried way more at art, or video games, or art including video games and movies and TV shows and stuff like that. Way more than I've cried at like stuff that's going on in real life involving real people. Like, I get super emotional about characters and about worlds and stuff. It's why I want to teach English as well, because I care about that kind of stuff. Not just for that reason, but that's one of the big reasons.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was definitely one of them. I there was a couple of moments in this game where I got emotional because of the writing, because of the characters. Did I know anybody exactly like Slater or Cassandra or Rockford? No, I didn't. Not really. Rockford reminded me a little bit of me when I was younger, because I was very, very passionate about certain musical opinions. But I've mellowed out on that
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no, I didn't really know anyone exactly like these people. That's okay, because again, according to the director themselves, they're just amalgamations of people and ideas and tropes from different decades and different musical genres, and they're representing different ideas. And like, I don't think that they're supposed to be completely realistic or completely real, which is amazing, because I felt like generally these characters do feel real. They do feel natural. I do like the dialogue between them. Yes, it's very silly, and you can argue it's cringe. I don't really care personally for that term, because I think it's just used too much and too it's too dismissive personally. But I understand what people are saying, and I can empathize to an extent, because obviously some of the things that they say are just lame, right? Like, there's just some circumstances where Rockford says something and I just roll my eyes and I'm like, come on. But like, that's the point, right? Anyway, we'll talk about it. But yeah, I was very impressed with how they pulled off the dialogue, despite what other people think.
Well, yeah. I mean, one of the reasons you and I click a lot is that we're both very artsy people and very abstract thinkers. Like you majored in philosophy, and I majored in English. So, like, I look at things differently than other people do. Like, obviously, like I see the symbols and things and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I guess let's see. What else did I put? We talked about the pacing already. No, this is a game for both of us. You and I are both very big fans of the narrative genre. You more so, even more than me. This is like a top 5, top 7 genre for me. This is probably like your number 1.
It's definitely up there.
Or
yeah,
two
I
or
mean, I did
something.
a whole I did a little mini series that of what's the story, Dory, on my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel for a while. That's how much I love story focused games. Not to say that I don't love gameplay. I do love gameplay. I love the Doom games, for example, and those are not story based games except when they try to be, and it's very annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely love gameplay. But yeah, one of the things I love about video games is how interactive they are while they are telling a story. And I know, some people think that this game's not interactive enough, but I felt like it was balanced very well. And yeah,
I
but
agree.
yeah, I also love the narrative genre similar to you, and this game was definitely a Dory game. I think we even said that when we were seeing previews.
100%.
Pretty quickly. Yeah, we said it like multiple times. I think so.
I mean, the thing is, I've seen people say that this game came out of nowhere, and it's like, wow, it's this big indie darling. I'm like, I feel like I've known about this game for like a year and a half. Like, I remember saying like, oh
No,
my god, this looks like a game for me.
I'm gonna be very brief about this because I know we said we weren't gonna go into it, so I don't want to get too much into it. But this whole fucking stupid shit about this being an industry plant is so dumb because by that logic, so many indie darlings are industry plants because billionaires and multi-billionaires are backing so much of our of the video game landscape at this point that if this is an industry plant and I really couldn't give a shit if it is because it's a good game. You are going to have to start rethinking some big titles that everyone fucking thinks are amazing. And I'm just saying because like Team Cherry they're not fucking poor at this point is how I'm gonna put this, right? Like if this is not an indie game because some multi-billionaire's daughter is the person who started the publishing group that is behind this game, not even the dev themselves, but the fucking publisher. You are going to have to start rethinking what is an indie game even more than we already have to on a fucking daily basis. But yeah, anyway, I know we don't want to get into it. It really annoys me, the authenticity debate about this game.
They called Expedition 33 an industry plant, and that game is a masterpiece.
Fucking hell. So stupid. It was their first game. Like how? It's just so dumb.
This is their second game. They've only made Artful Escape. So like how?
And I'm not as high on Artful Escape as you are. I went back on GG and I think I was at like a 3.5, 3.75 out of 5. I think it's a pretty good game, but
like a 4 out of 5.
I got a little annoyed by the Simon Says mechanics. What's that?
I think it's like a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much we agree then. But you like it a little bit more than me, safe to say. And so I wasn't the biggest Beethoven and Dinosaur fan. So it's not like I'm coming with that bias of like, oh, I love Beethoven and Dinosaur. I just like, no, this game didn't come out, like factually, it did not come out of nowhere. I'm not sure if this was one of those games that we saw at every fucking preview thing and we were like, can we just get the game?
A couple, but mostly Xbox show.
Yeah,
mostly.
It was mostly at Xbox shows, which makes sense because it's Game Pass. Yeah. And it didn't come out of nowhere. It's not. It's just not the case. So I don't know. Maybe if you weren't paying attention, it feels like all of this is coming out of nowhere, but. I don't know, the website Aftermath that does a lot of good independent journaling and stuff like that, journalistic work, has a good kind of article, which is like really all of this about Mixtape. But yeah, what else are our pros?
Yeah, so I already hit on the pacing being great. We were talking about this game for me. Like I said, it knows what it wants to be, and I think this is a great start. Some of the mini games can be hit or miss and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, really, if you really break this game down, like at its skeleton, this game is basically just walk up to an object, look at it, and then jump to a flashback. But you could really do something cool in the next game and really improve upon your gameplay in the next game. Like you've established such an awesome game here. That like if you just do a little more gameplay that varies and it's not just like walking around a room picking up an object and then jumping to a flashback mini game, you can really do an even more awesome game and really take the next step. So I think it's a fantastic start, and as I said before, this is gonna become one of my favorite indie developers I want to keep an eye on. I have like Giant Squid and Team Cherry and things like that. And also, I'm a big fan of Annapurna, which publishes this game. So obviously, I love most of Annapurna's games.
Look at this industry plant hack over here.
Yeah, look at me wearing a beanie, talking about.
That's right. I'll talk about my pros. I love the characters. I think they're super fun. Slater. I think I would die for Slater. Pretty sure I would.
Yeah, he's my favorite character.
Just super, really, really well written. Very well, very naturally. The gameplay sections, especially the fireworks, the grocery cart section, the skateboarding section, the the flipping the middle finger section where you're making explosions was just so awesome. They're very simple. I'm not saying you would ever go back to them, which will be in our cons. But for the one time, oh, such cool set pieces.
Agreed.
I thought the ending was bittersweet, but felt earned and deserved,
and realistic.
And it made sense.
And very realistic.
It felt realistic. Yeah, it felt realistic. It was not exactly a happy ending, but it's not exactly a bad ending either.
Yeah, it's life.
And that's life. Yeah. And I think that was, they said again. There's this Vice interview with the main guy. I think his name's literally Johnny Galvatron or some shit. How the hell is that guy's name? But anyway, in a good way. They said something like in terms of shit. I lost my train of thought because Johnny Galvatron's name is so cool. Yeah. Anyway, I can't remember what the hell I was gonna say.
Have you seen the people like that made this game? Like, did you watch the Kind of Funny interview they did?
No, I didn't.
They look like people that would make this kind of game. Like,
yeah,
like they have like that rock star, like indie rock star vibe to them.
Yeah.
Like they look like music snobs in a good. I'm not saying that in a negative way either.
Sure. I mean, you have to be a music snob to make this game. I think at some level. But yeah, I don't remember what the hell I was going to say. But my point is, go look at that Vice article. They talk about how it's going to be, the game is an amalgamation of many different things. And then the voice acting, strong across the board. I felt like everybody brought their A game. Everyone feels alive and invested and natural. And then, yeah, the Spider-Verse-esque graphics, which we've already talked about, they work great for me. So, yeah, I really don't, even in my cons, I won't have too much. Most of them are nitpicks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seb has more substantial things, some of which I agree, some of which I don't.
Yeah. As you said, like there's some of the sections of this game are super memorable, like the fireworks and the skateboarding and the grocery cart part was awesome. And the mix of in the mix of 2D and 3D animation, the way they did it was so cool.
So good.
But as you said, the replayability is not there. Like this game is meant to play. This game is meant to be played once and like experience it, and then I'll never play it again. But it was so memorable that I'll remember it. I mean, like I'll remember this game all year long. I will never forget the fireworks.
That's just life. You only get to play it once, but you'll remember it anyway. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so the fireworks section I'll always remember, and the grocery cart section I'll remember. Like when I'm thinking about my top 10 games of the year, I'll be thinking of that, and I'll get into that later. So like, this is not even my con, but I can understand it. This game is not for everybody. This is for games like that Dory and I like, which is narrative games with limited gameplay. This is like an interactive movie is the best way to look at it. If you want anything deeper than that, it's not there. You're not going to get that.
Yeah, I just don't understand why people are getting upset about it. I saw someone in the Steam reviews, which are at very positive, but all of the top most helpful reviews are all negative, like all the way down. It's nuts. And we won't go too far into that, but just to point that out. But I saw one of the reviews that said something like, I really wanted like something like Life is Strange, where your choices matter, and it's narrative heavy, and you're super like involved in the plot. I'm like, Mixtape never advertised themselves like that. They advertise themselves as a lot of things, but never as like a your choices matter kind of game. This is a linear narrative game with limited interactivity. They never said anything else. I don't know where people are getting this idea that you were going to be like, I don't know, super involved in the game in terms of gameplay. It's not even that expensive of a game. If they were charging double the price, then I would hear these complaints a little more. But it is a $17.99, $60 or like $15 on Game Pass, basically for PC Game Pass game, and it's for me, it's very well written. I know some people disagree with that, but it's very well written. It's beautifully animated. The soundtrack is excellent. Even people who hate it, a lot of people think that the soundtrack's good, right? Because at least it's got to be good on that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't get this whole complaint. I know it's not your complaint, so I'm not saying this to you. But just like, I don't know what people wanted. Like, it never build itself on like being highly interactive, right? Like, it is a video game.
Yeah.
But like, interactive movies have been a thing. FMV videos were a thing in the 90s, ironically, right? Like, this has been a thing for a long time now. Like, it's not anything new. So I think getting upset about it, it's just not a game for you, which I think is fine. But I wouldn't give a negative review if I tried to play fucking Call of Duty, I wouldn't give it a negative review because it wasn't for me. I just wouldn't play
Yeah.
it.
That'd be like me playing like a puzzle game or an RTS and like criticizing because it wasn't for me. Because it really
Yeah.
at the end of the day, not every game is for everybody, and that's really what it comes
Right.
down to. Like, and that comes into that whole easy mode debate, adding that easy mode to Dark Souls or something like that. But like,
Sure.
not every game is made for certain people. Like, some people want a really hardcore gameplay focused game, and other people want a narrative focus indie experience. And then you have people like you and me, or especially me. Like, I like almost every genre of game except for like maybe 5 of them I don't like, which is strategy games, puzzle games, and racing games.
RTS.
Yeah, like MOBAs and things like that. I play almost every genre, and you play almost every genre as well. I mean,
Right.
So like, not every game is for everybody, and let's be honest, the strong majority of gamers only prefer a couple of genres. They like their own games that they like. They play 3 to 5 games a year at most. Like, people like you and me are small minority.
Yeah, for sure.
So my point is, the developers don't need to make a game for everybody, and I think if anything, games that make games for everybody, the game is always suffers in quality because of that. When a game has a clear vision of what kind of game they want to make, it's always going to shine, and that's why this game shines so much, is because they have a clear vision of what they want it to be, which is a 3-hour narrative experience where where they express yourself through music and visuals. Like, it's what it is, and it's not fair to judge a game based on what you want it to be. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem. Like, now, with that said, I do think the mini games in this game are quite shallow at times. Like, there's some parts it's like whatever. Like I said, it happens so fast that like you can kind of just fly through it, and like it gives you the option to skip it.
It goes back to what you said about pacing. It's like there's a mini game here or there that I didn't click with, like the one where Slater is drunk in a video store. Like, that took me way too long to figure out what the fuck I was supposed to do, because they flash the how to pick videotapes button, and then it goes away and it never comes back. Yeah. So I completely forgot what I'm supposed to press in order to grab a movie. So I ended up being in there for like 3 minutes, and I had to look at a video walkthrough.
I also didn't really like that, because I thought that was kind of douchey on their end. Like, oh, we're gonna be drunk and walk in a video store and trash it. Like, because like I know they're not supposed to be like great people. I mean, they're teenagers.
Yeah,
and all that,
they're not.
But at the same time, I was kind of like, this is not. I'm like, this is douchey, kind of like losing points with me right now.
It is kind of weird, because they said later on, like, we'll be doing victimless crime, and I'm like, what about that poor video clerk?
Yeah, the poor guy.
He's like, I'm not cleaning that up, man. So
that's just,
I guess it wasn't on him.
I'm just like I say, I'm an empath, and I just like I feel bad.
No, I get you, and I did, because I lollygag so much. I got the achievement for like doing like 200 tapes or some bullshit, because I didn't know what the fuck to do.
They should have went even farther with it and let you like knock over the whole freaking like aisle.
They should have done it. It would have been great.
Knock the whole shelves down.
Yep.
So again, the replayability is an issue though, for sure. Like, this is a one-time game. Really, the only replayability in this game, and there is a chapter select and everything, is just to get all the achievements, which I did. I have all the Steam achievements.
Oh, nice.
But they're all like very misc achievements. They're like, do this 5 times, do this 10 times, do this. You know, like it's very basic trophy list. It's a pretty easy platinum, or pretty easy 100%.
Especially with the chapter select, thankfully.
Yeah, thank God. I hate when games don't do that. So yeah. As you said, it's not a big deal for you, because obviously it's a $18 game. And it's on Game Pass.
Yes, so it's even cheaper technically through PC Game Pass. It's like $14 because they lowered it. So I basically got this game for $14, which is a steal. It was an excellent game. It was only three hours, but you know, so much has already been said about how hours to dollars aren't the same thing. I definitely got my money's worth for the 3.5 hours it took me to beat.
Right, and I didn't even pay $18. I feel like I got it on sale even cheaper on a Key website, but I don't remember the exact price. But I think it was like $14 to $15. But I'm going off memory. Anyway, not a major con to me, but like there is really no failing in this game. Like, there's no game over. Like, it just rewinds itself. If anything, it just rewinds the vibes. Like you're really into the cool section and like the music's playing and you're skateboarding, and then when you fail and hit a car or something, it rewinds it and it kind of ruins the vibe, but it kind of ruins the pacing of the song.
Yeah,
So
I get that.
that's where you get a game over. Basically, it kills the vibe.
Yeah,
But not a major con. But yeah,
no,
the game does basically play itself at sometimes. Like there's sections where you just run to the right, and if you put the controller down, it will still
yeah.
continue on. Not a major con for me because I mean it doesn't really affect me because it's a 3 hour game and I'm just playing
Yeah,
it.
it's a 3 hour game. I don't play. I wouldn't
But I
play
get
it
it.
like that anyway. I want to interact with it. And it's
Yeah.
like people who are like, you can put the controller down and do nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, to quote the devs of Doom, you control the buttons you push, buddy. So if you decide to
Mm,
do that, that's all you. Like, it's still a game. It's just an interactive. It's just a game that focuses more on the narrative. It's a walking sim. It's more focused on the narrative and the
yeah.
movement than it is on
It's a
the
movie.
interactivity, which is fine. I don't see the big deal there personally, but I love
Yeah.
as noted, I love narrative games, so it's
Yeah.
it's fine to me.
Now the nostalgia angle won't work for everyone. It relies heavily on nostalgia, especially if you're nostalgic for like '90s suburban life where kids like
Yeah,
skate, and that can be hard to get into because like as a kid growing up, we already talked about this, but I grew up in the 2000s more, I would say, and
sure.
I grew up with pop punk and emo music and MySpace and things like that.
Yeah, same.
But I grew up in Florida. I can't relate to their locations they were riding around. I can't relate to the
No.
seasons. I can't relate to um, anything like the '90s like that. I wasn't a teenager in the '90s. I can relate to like what it's like to be a teenager and graduating high school and losing your friends and moving away and saying goodbye. And I hung out in Taco Bell parking lot, and I never drank or smoked, but I went to parties and things like that. I've never
Sure.
been a drinker or smoker.
Yeah.
Never, not once. And so yeah, I don't have to relate to people like that though, like to understand the game. But I have seen people say though this game is like very white.
Yeah,
And
which it is.
I can see that. I mean, because even me, I've always been the hip hop and rap, and my mixtape would not just be a bunch of indie rock songs from Australia.
Yeah.
Like that's very, those are the word pretentious. Like it really is
Yeah.
more of an indie abstract, that kind of person. I've never been that kind of person. I listened to
Yeah,
50
it's
Cent
kind
just
of
as much as I listened to Nirvana. Like I've
I'm
always
not
loved
I'm
all
not the
music.
biggest like hip hop rap fan, but the '90s were a golden age. So to not have any hip hop at all, it's kind of outrageous
Yeah.
if you
So,
think about it.
so
Yeah,
I
this is a very
yeah
it's a very white game. I think there is something to be said about how games like this get a lot more attention, a lot more funding, and a lot more accessibility than games that are coming of age tales of people of color. I think there's definitely something to that. I don't necessarily think that's Mixtape's burden to like take. I don't think it
sure.
takes
It's
anything.
not
I
fair.
don't think I don't
Yeah.
think yeah, I don't think score wise, unless Beethoven and Dinosaur as a studio were doing something to like make that happen, but I don't think they are. I think it's more of the Annapurnas of the world, the Ellisons of the world. Like that's more on them than Beethoven and Dinosaur.
Yeah.
In the game they've created. Still, it's absolutely fair to say this is a very white game. I think the whole cast is white. It's kind of hard to tell because the shading is kind of weird. Sometimes I thought Cass could be Asian, but I wasn't sure.
I think she's
Uh,
Asian. I'm pretty
I
sure.
thought she was
Or at
Asian
least
too. Okay,
half and
'cause
half.
yeah, at least half Asian or something.
Yeah.
So it's not completely a white
I
game,
think
and the
yeah.
main girl that they're trying to hang out with is black.
Yeah, that
She's
was the
like
only black character I could think
the
of.
only black character in the game.
Yeah.
At least the one black character in the game is cool, and everybody wants to be hanging out with her. I guess that's like the
Yeah.
best case scenario for that sort of situation, but it's still not ideal, for sure.
Yeah. So
Oh, and
yeah.
also let me state, similar to Seb, I could not relate to a fucking thing in this game. I barely went to parties as a kid. I didn't drink, didn't smoke. I still don't. I'm straight edge. I just there's a lot of this game that personally I didn't relate to, and yet I still loved it. I still loved these characters. I still
Sure.
understood what they were going for. It's like super bad, right? Like I didn't have any of those experiences as a kid for the most part. Like, but I still liked those characters and the journeys they were going through. Like, I don't. there's this whole fucking, I would call it a plague of like likability, where everyone feels like, or relatability, where everyone feels like the protagonist of a video game or book or whatever. They have to be likable. I have to be able to relate to them. If I don't, it's some kind of failure on the people behind it. And I don't agree with
Yeah,
that.
it's
The
bad.
protagonists don't
Yeah,
have to be likable to be protagonists, and they don't have to be relatable
sure.
either. I don't like, we're gonna go for an old stone classic here. I don't completely like Joel. I don't completely like Ellie. They are not necessarily great people, but I still love their characters. I still understand why they're doing what
Right.
they're doing and what
Exactly.
they're going
Oh,
through. And
exactly.
obviously those are characters
So
in
many
very different
examples.
contexts.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so many
those are
examples. Yeah.
there's so many examples. Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption, all the characters are criminals and they do bad
Yeah.
things. But yet
Yep.
we feel bad for John and Arthur. Like
Yeah.
Joel and Ellie. Ellie's killed thousands of people, hundreds of people in Revenge Tale.
Yeah.
100%. Not every game. I totally agree. You can watch a movie and it's about a kid in Africa. Like I can't relate to a kid in Africa, but like I can still sympathize
Right.
and understand what they're going through. And
Sure.
people struggle to put themselves in other people's shoes. Is what I've
It's so
realized.
funny too because like I'm autistic and like stereotypically speaking, I'm supposed to like super struggle with this, but like the reality is that I put myself too much in other people's shoes. Like it's so much that like I try to distance myself from people sometimes because it's a lot of emotions to take on for me specifically because autism is a sensory processing disorder, and so it can be hard to like deal with all those emotions. But like yeah, so I mean, and that's part of why I got so emotional. Like I just finished up The Summer Hikaru Died, which is an incredible anime on Netflix.
Yeah.
I absolutely cried like last episode. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what it is to be a Japanese teenage boy who's queer, who's living in rural Japan where everyone's fucking backwards and heteronormative as shit. I have no idea what that feels like.
And
But
his best friend's dead and taken
and
over
his best
by
friend's dead and he's a fucking demon and blah blah blah. That too.
Can't
But
relate
yeah,
to
it's
that.
kind of burying the lead there. But a good catch. But still, I still cried because I understand these characters and I know what they're going through. Anyway, all this to say, yes, Rockford is a pretentious asshole at times who really needs to chill on the whole music thing and thinking I'm better than you. But like she's also a teenager. She's a child. Like
Yeah.
I'm willing to give grace to characters, especially characters who are younger, right? And even if they're not younger, like in Joel, going back to Joel or Arthur or Morgan or whatever, like there are John, they are flawed characters, but they're still interesting. That's what makes them interesting.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
With
so
that,
yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I do find some of the writing to be pretentious though, for sure. Like it does
Sure.
it really feels like a bunch of indie people made this.
Yes.
And I guess we can come off as pretentious in this conversation because because we're very
Sure.
abstract and things like that. But I when she talks to the camera and talks about like, oh, this is the song from 1984, the Australia, like it's so I roll my eyes. I can't get over it. It's just too corny for me. I won't use the word
It's
cringy, but it just
yeah.
it doesn't vibe with me.
That's
I know
fair.
teenagers are corny and cringy, but even when I was like
They,
17, I would have found her annoying.
yeah,
It's just
I'm sure
so
most
not
people
me.
around her.
It's
I mean, there's a reason why she's only really got two main friends. I think it's because she's like that, and she just found two other corny, cringy music snobs who are similar to her. I mean, I think Cass is also hanging out with her because she hates her dad, justifiably, because that dude's an asshole. But
yeah, I would not.
um, yeah,
I'm not a go to record store millennial that listens to like I have to listen to
no,
the record because it sounds authentic and if you listen
yeah,
to
yeah,
Spotify
I don't care.
you're a monster. No,
Yeah,
like that kind of I don't get into all that.
yeah. I mean, I don't like Spotify, but not for those reasons.
Not for
Yeah,
those
I agree.
reasons. Yeah, like
Yeah,
exactly. So like I just can't relate because when I was 17, 18, I was listening to rap and like Lil Wayne and like
yeah,
Drake, like so it just I would find her annoying is what I'm saying.
yeah.
But
No, and I think most of us would. I don't think this is a character I would want to hang out with. I would not want to be friends with. Besides the fact that I'm 34, like even if I was a teenager, I probably wouldn't want to be friends with this person because like they're just very snobby. Like the whole fucking reason she hates Jenny fucking Goodspeed is just because she doesn't appreciate the music in movies, and that's it, and that's the whole reason. And
Yeah.
the game is very self-aware that it's a stupid reason.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But the game is self-aware and it knows that she's not likable,
Yeah.
but at the same time, just because you know it's corny doesn't mean it's still not corny. It's still corny.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I can't get past something. And I love Life is Strange, and there's so much cringy, corny lines in that game too. Like it. So this is not a major con to me, just to be clear.
Sure.
But it's there for me.
Yeah.
I do find some of it pretentious. I wish she didn't talk to the camera and tell me about some random song. Like I just find that a little eye rolling.
I kind of love it, but I
don't
kind of
like
love it in a way that just, I don't know. It defines her character to me. It feels important, but I do agree that it's very pretentious. And to me, it doesn't bother me as much as it does Seb, but I totally understand where you're coming from on that.
Yeah.
I have a couple criticisms. Literally, I have like two, and they're very minor. But you've already said a couple of my other ones about replayability and let's see, what else? The length. I would like maybe another hour.
I gotta add to that too when you're done.
Okay, sure. So a couple things I'll say, and then I'll be done with my cons. I do think, just on a basic UI level, it'd be nice if the game didn't highlight items I've already interacted with, because I sometimes found myself going back to items I've already said something about, and then Rockford would just say something all over again that she's already done.
Also, to add on to that, there's sometimes where the
yeah.
objects are next to each other, and I'm hitting the X button.
Yes, that happened to me once. Yep.
A couple times I was interacting with the same object. I'm like, I'm trying to like. It should have been an option to like. Rotate
to get rid of them or something.
Yeah.
I've already talked about this, but I did get lost in the video store because the game didn't remind me how to look and pick another VHS tape, which was kind of annoying. Kind of on me for forgetting the button prompt, but it would be nice if you haven't finished a minigame for long enough, the button prompts come up and like, hey, remember, this is how you do this. Because I literally had to go to YouTube and look at that specific section and how you were supposed to do it. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. That's all I really have for criticisms, besides the replayability. Maybe it could have been a little longer. And I guess there are some mini games I liked more than others. I really don't have much to criticize here. I'm very high on this game.
Yeah, my last criticism of the game, and this is more of a con for me for sure. This is not just a nitpick. I feel like this game could be like an hour longer, because like the two girls get in an argument, in a fight basically, and then also there's also a subplot where Cassandra and her dad like don't see eye to eye, and it's just so rushed. Like they get in a fight, and then like 5 minutes later they're best friends again, and I'm like, you really could have just kept that out. Like it could have been more developed or something. Like there could have been a more serious moment to bring them together, and then the dad's like, okay, get out of here, and like they could have developed that a little more. Like he could show me where he was like real, like he sat down in his room and put music on and like realized I was like this when I was younger too, and like they should have had something like that to develop that.
Sure.
So that's where I have an issue with.
I had a feeling that one of the things was Cass's dad. Yeah, I thought that was a little odd too. I mean, Cass's threat and his reluctant acceptance, I guess, made sense, but yeah, you're right that it could have been padded out a little better. As far as the friendship thing goes, I do feel like I'm of two minds of this. On one hand, it feels realistic because sometimes that is how friendship works. Like you get in a fight and then 5 minutes later you're better. But on the other hand, for storyline pacing reasons, it does feel not great. So yeah,
you could have just left that part.
I can see your
it's
point.
Just for conflict, just for the sake of having conflict. But again,
it does feel kind of like the betrayal trope, or like the lie trope, like that happens in Shrek, where like you mishear somebody and you feel betrayed, and then you have to communicate to get things through. I didn't like, oh, you betrayed me because you're hanging out with this other girl. Like I didn't like that either. I felt like they were both kind of being a dick. Like Rockford, like you're leaving for no real good reason. You're kind of bailing on your friends for a promise you made, but also Cass is being way too hard on you, and like. But also, like, stop being such a tightwad about Jenny Goodspeed. Like,
not only that, I found I also found it corny when she's like, "You're ruining my mixtape. I can't finish the mixtape." Like,
I know this is so selfish.
I was like, come on, you're being goofy.
You got enough
songs on there. Like, it's just a mixtape.
Pivot, girl.
We're on
Come
like
on.
she's like on song 19, and she's
I
like,
know. I was like, oh, I wonder how many fucking songs the mixtape will have. Maybe like 14 or
how many
something.
songs
We
does
were on like
mixtapes even
20.
hold? I don't even remember.
I don't know.
I was
That there has to be an A side and a B side.
Yeah.
Also, I love that Slater casually just dropped a synth like masterpiece at like 16 or something. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway,
and I was happy they didn't go for like the romantic ending with the two of them. Like they just
well, I thought more that they were gonna go because there's LGBT tags and stuff. I thought Cass and
that's what they were going for because
gonna...
they were like floating in the air together and things like that. And I was like, okay, they go for like a lesbian
I thought they were
story.
going for something like that, but I don't know. I guess.
And then
not.
they went. Then her and the guy at the end. I thought they were about to kiss or something. I'm like, well, please don't do that. I'd rather they stay platonic. You know, like good friends. And they didn't do it. And I was like, yeah, that's a good. I'm happy. They didn't go that
I thought that was good. I thought that was good too. Yeah.
So my cons are not major ones. So for me, it's a 9 out of 10. There's times where I've been a 9.5. But I think a 9 out of 10 is fair for me. This is one of my this is my top 5 games of the year so far now, and it's definitely my favorite indie game of the year. Will it be in my game of the year list? Probably not. It's really going to be hard to beat Resident Evil Requiem, and the other games ahead of it. But this is a top 5 game for me. 9 out of 10. I absolutely love it. I'm completely ignoring the discourse. It's just I know what the argument is, but I think a lot of it is just someone's opinion. I don't think every game needs to be for everybody, as we said already. So for what I got was a cheaper, 3-hour amazing experience, and that's all it needed to be. And I'm very satisfied, and I think this was a great game.
I'm not at it being a 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5, but I'm very close. I would say I'm something like a 4.5 or 9.5, out of 5 or out of 10 respectively.
Yeah.
I think this is an excellent game. I have minor criticisms. There are some criticisms online from good faith people that I have read that it makes some semblance of sense where I'm like, okay, like that makes me reevaluate my score. But generally speaking, a lot, and I mean a lot, of the criticisms are bad faith or just shit, or just objectively wrong. And like Seb said, I'm trying to ignore those kinds of people because there's just not a lot good that you're going to get out of it by catering to those kind of people.
I don't even see it on Blue Sky. I see it on Twitter. So.
Yeah, I don't see it on Blue Sky either. I see more of the competent, good faith criticisms. And there are criticisms to be had, like we talked about. There is. Yeah. This is a very white, suburban, middle class game, but I think it's okay. I'm not like it's complicated, right? Because I think there should be a diversity of experiences in terms of people's perspectives and nostalgia and stuff like that. And obviously nostalgia can be manufactured and overdone and overused and for profit, but I mean that's just the system we live under. I don't think that's but so this is a very particular context. It's a very white, suburban, skater, drink, smoke weed context that I don't really relate to, but that's okay because like Seb said, I still empathize and understand these characters and can appreciate them. But I do think there's something to the criticism, the larger systemic criticism, which again I don't really think Beethoven and Dinosaur need to suffer for. But it's still true that I would like more games like this, but from other perspectives that are maybe less represented, right? I'm not saying we only have those or we only have these. I would like both, please. And it rhymes, so it must be true.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's frustrating because I want to see a multiplicity of perspectives, but what we get here is a very, very particular context, which is okay, but it does make it a limiting game overall.
Yeah. Also, my final 2 thoughts as well is that I would love a game in this style from like a Black Experience, like a hip hop mixtape and things like that.
Yes,
that'd be a really cool game. And my second thought is, when are we gonna start getting millennial 2000s nostalgic focused games?
That's what I was thinking.
Everything's
too,
80. Everything's
it's
80s
gotta
and
be
90s.
Happening soon.
Like when's
it's got to be happening.
Where's
soon
my Blink 182? Where's my Sum 41?
Yeah, right.
Where's my My Chemical Romance? Where's my MySpace? I know. Where's my Life is Strange?
Some people literally think the 2000s didn't start until My Chem started getting popular and emo kids started becoming a thing, and that wasn't until 2004. So like I don't know, when are we getting that? Shit?
MySpace.
I was
such a I was all over the place. I was the kid that had the button-down flame shirt with the spiky hair, and then the next day I would wear like a big baggy FUBU shirt, Echo shirt.
I will, on that note, recommend I Write Games, Not Tragedies, which I've talked about previously. That is kind of what we're talking about, where it is like MySpace, MyChem, Panic at the Disco nostalgia, but it's very niche. It's only got like
Yeah.
40 reviews, but I
Yeah.
liked it. I thought it was a great game. And it's, of course, it's got queer elements too.
I beat it too. I beat it this year.
But yeah, it's a good game, and it's definitely one. But we need more. I mean, and we need a bigger like AA, AAA.
Yeah, where's
game.
my like set piece where you're walking around a room and the computer screen has MySpace on it with the top 8 spaces?
That's right.
Where's my Tom? I want Tom animated.
That's right. I want the fucking interactive screensavers where like you're a mouse in the Windows PC maze. That might have been the 90s, but late 90s.
I demand Minesweeper on the computer. I demand Windows
that's
XP.
Right, Minesweeper. Discount Minesweeper.
I want Windows XP.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, that concludes our show. Next week, next episode rather, we're gonna talk about Lego Batman, James Bond, Forza, and then the episode after that is probably gonna be like Summer Game Fest. So there's a lot coming up this summer. I only got 2 more weeks left of school, and then I'm off for 2 months. So it's coming fast, and then I'll blink and it'll be over. It'll be August again. But I'll be playing more games. I'll be doing more spotlights. I'll be catching up on some games that I haven't played yet. So there's a lot coming up, a lot to talk about this month. We probably won't be able to get to all 3 of those games next episode because that's a lot. But it's coming
definitely
up.
James Bond.
The next 2 episodes. Oh, James Bond is 100% going to be the next thumbnail for sure. Yeah. So I'm excited for that game. That might be in my top 10 for sure.
I've also been replaying Baldur's Gate 3. I'm just about to get into Act 3. I've been doing the Dirty Dirge, the Dark Urge Redemption Tour. So, refusing all the urges and stuff. So I will probably spotlight that at some point, either late May or early June, whenever I beat it. I'm going to actually go back to it like after I walk Xena. So I'm very excited. Been loving it. I still have some little minor criticisms, but it's still an incredible experience and a masterpiece of a game.
I think it's a game of the generation, I would say.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. Now, it must have been quite a contrast going from Baldur's Gate 3 to Directive 8020.
I said that to you. I should have said that here too. Yeah, I was like deep in Act 2, just beat Act 2. I went over to Directive 8020. I'm like, okay, I'm not expecting like Baldur's Gate 3 level of writing, and then I was like, oh my god, jeez, the drop off is insane. To go from like a 10 to a 6 is like just nuts, and then to go back up to a 9 it was just wild. I was like, sometimes when you play video games that are not very good, you're just like, my god, is this all video games are? And then I immediately went to Mixtape, and I was like, oh, thank god.
Well, that's the thing about video games, right? Is like, people will ask you, like, why do you never play, like, bad games? Or why are all your games always rated, like, a 7 or higher every time we do a review or something? And it's like,
yeah.
Because, like, a movie, we watch bad movies because it only takes, like, an hour or 2. And, like, you don't have to pay for it usually. It's on a streaming service or something like that. Where a video game, you actually have to spend, like, $50, $60 to play a bad game. And then you and I, like, and a lot of people do our research. We watch YouTube videos. We watch, like, people's opinions.
Yeah. It's a huge investment.
It's a big investment.
I would never replay Baldur's Gate. Wasn't like a 10 out of 10. Like, it's such a long game. Exactly. I'm like 60 hours in and I'm not even into Act 3 yet. Yeah. Like, it's nuts.
Because if a game has a 55 on Metacritic, I am not touching it. Don't get me wrong, there's been some bad games that people didn't like and I liked, but I didn't pay full price for it. So that's just being a bad consumer or you're making bad decisions if you're buying a $70 game that's 55 on Metacritic. That's just not smart. Unless you really, really want to play it, but yeah. I always roll my eyes when people say, "Oh, just form your own opinion, just try it out." Well, it's a $70 roll of dice. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's like if you're rich, I guess so, but like I'm not fucking rich.
Even the movies, like I'm not gonna go see a bad movie that has like a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes and paying $35.
Movies are like $15, $20 or something.
It's just like $30 now. I'm not spending $30 to go see
I'm not fucking doing that if it's got like a really bad score on Rotten Tomatoes.
So that's just really, people got to get over that. I'll form my own opinion when it actually is on like Netflix or something. Anyway, anyway, that's a good thing about Game Pass. That's one of the strengths of Game Pass. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys on the next episode, and take care.
Bye, everybody. Stay hip, stay cool.